Bésame toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá.
and welcome to the PUBG Continental Series for America's Group Stage Day 4. Whew, what a mouthful. I'm Clover, and this is Hypoc. And Hypoc, we're pretty much here now into week 2 after 3 days of play. Teams didn't really have too much downtime. We're going to get right back into the thick of things.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. We're right back to AB, which I got to say, the day one was the most exciting for me, seeing TSM pop off. So hoping for them to repeat that performance once again.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was really looking forward to that debut performance from Shoot to Kill. Now TSM picked up just before the start of PCS4 after that very tempting announcement. We knew that they were signed, kind of waited about a week for it. And I think once TSM announced that they were going to leave Europe, coming back to North America, where they're based, and a strong performance to start. I mean, this is a roster that has been playing together for quite a while. Sans Penta, who joined during the middle of PGIS, and I think I heard you guys even say this weekend the honeymoon period's over. They are just feeling themselves right now.
Yeah, they are. I mean, just actually, I didn't even realize how high Luke 12 and Penta's ADR actually was. It's pretty bonkers to say the least. But yeah, these guys firing on all cylinders right now. All four players stepping up, and it's just so good to watch them just do their thing. I keep talking about this coast mode that TSM have got themselves into, where they don't necessarily need to worry about rotations. They don't need to worry about circles, and they can just consistently put up points comfortably. And even when it comes down to one or two players left, they still somehow manage to just squeeze through some placement points along the way.
We'll take a real quick look at the overstanding leaderboard before we get into format and kind of breakdown for those of you just tuning in what's going on. As you can see here, TSM right now in first place there with 131 points, 3 wins thus far. Sonics and Oath putting in a good fight behind them, not too bad. And a couple of other teams of note that we've kind of been seeing some interesting performances of Ascendance, right? We've seen two
Yeah.
chicken dinners for them. Maji and the rest of that team are really looking good. And I think that if they can have a repeat performance of that this week, then we might see some good things from that team. But before we get too far, let's jump real quick, guys, into format, let you know what it is that we're doing through this group stage. As you can see, both North America and LATAM sub-regions are going to be playing the top 6 from each group stage. We'll move forward into the grand final, but this weekend, we'll also have a last chance. The top 4 will move on as well. So if your teams that are playing, you want to make sure that you get into the top 6. Typically, we see more teams move on, so the margins are a little bit slimmer, Hypoc.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is obviously the first time we've really gone with something like this, so I have to see how much impact it really has. But I mean, obviously, historically, NA, you could talk about top four usually secured. So to kind of cut out another two spots there to throw it to the last chance is actually interesting for I guess NA as a sub region before we go towards the grand finals, Clover.
And now, of course, teams are going to be playing for more than just the opportunity to go to the grand final. We've got prizing as well. Group stage, first through 6 will walk home with some cash prizes. 7th through 14th, though, are going to have to play to win through the last chance qualifier. And any team that did not move forward to that last chance will at least walk away with something. They'll have $500. So, total of $25,000 prize pool here for the group stage. And we can also see bonus pricing, $250 each. The player at the highest kills, highest assists, highest damage. And that's something that we've been keeping an eye on, as well as $250 the team with the most chicken dinners, kind of getting that practice in before we go to the finals.
It's a very meta bounty to be discussing, obviously, with a couple of teams chasing already. But, we've already talked about, a few other teams, the Senders putting up two chicken dinners on the same day, might not be an expected winner of that one.
And thus far, TSM proving right now that their current style of play and both securing as many points and kills as well as wins, continuing to follow that trend from what we saw from the ESL Masters Series 1 earlier on. We can see right now the most winner chicken dinners thus far. TSM tied with Sonics in first place for 3 apiece, Ascendance and Eternity with 2 as well. And Oath also sneaking in with 1. And each of these teams as well has been having that top 5 presence. I think we remember hearing Toffees call it the pole position. So for a lot of those teams that have been making it in the late game but haven't quite been securing as many chicken dinners, it's going to be something that they're going to really want to tighten up this week.
Is again, we talked about Senders, but Eternity as well. They actually had a really good day I think it was day 2. They popped off. They had the back to back in rounds
Hmm.
2 and 3. And that's what I'm talking about. Is really, I guess, looking at some of the top teams here, some of them not represented. So it's good to see some fresh blood, some new names on these leaderboards.
Yeah, a couple of new names that we don't see very often. Soup, by the way, Vexel have been players that we've seen around for quite a long time here in the North American scene. So it's really interesting when we see some of these new teams come up through the qualifiers, gelling well and being able to play the lobby well as in addition to that. So I guess real quick though, before we get into the game, go and take a look at some stats. Let's take a look at kills and damage. Let's see who's leading the lobby right now.
Shocker.
I've never seen any of these names at the top
Yeah,
of any of these lists
couldn't have
ever.
called that.
But it's great to see Penta up here. I mean, again, back to PGI, having Penta coming in to replace Uncivil. A lot of people were wondering, is this a good move? Yes, this has always been a good move. Penta proved himself PGIS, proved himself ESL, and once again proving himself here in PCS4. But it is good to see Greg Shot's name up here once again.
It's yeah. I mean, we talked about this again, not yesterday, day before yesterday with Matrim, and Afromaniacs just had an insane day, which, again, we talk about some of these teams kind of having pop-off days. It comes down to the consistency, right? We want to see them repeat that success and really carry through, because, I mean, overall, I think it was 29 and 35 points across the 2 days or something like that. So
Mhm.
also looking for them to step that up a little bit, but this is one of the teams I'm talking about that actually you probably wouldn't expect them to be kind of vying for a spot of top 8 and obviously top 6, really considering what we're playing for here in the group stages. But yeah, I was really impressed with them as um, on a front actually where they didn't really find themselves in too many game winning spots, but they were able to salvage a lot of points by just picking the right team fights and winning them clean.
Yeah, and I think these are four players that individually have had some really great successes and experiences on their own, on various rosters, on teams that we've sometimes seen maybe middle in some of these tournaments, but definitely in their own right are absolutely insane. So to come together and thus far be, for the better part, pretty successful is really exciting to see. And I think just goes to show the growth that we're seeing in North America. But real quick switch now to damage once again. I mean, TSM, Sonics, and Zenith all up here. Honey Badger sporting a brand new team right there, rounding out the top five.
It was, yeah, and Zenith again, another one that has been a big talking point for me. Again, haven't really seen them able to capitalize and close games out, but much of what we'd expect of this roster coming together, right? Shinboy, Punage, Sparking, Honey Badger, very frag heavy. So as soon as they can kind of, I guess, leap that final hurdle, I want to see them convert a couple of chicken dinners and really solidify their place on the leaderboard.
Hmm. I guess any last kind of thoughts before we go into this first game? Things that you're really thinking about, or things I guess about the maps. We are starting with Erangel today. We had some ridiculous Erangel circles this last weekend. We had a lot of water. We had military. We had corners of the map that don't usually get played, and that made things I think really crazy for some of those teams.
Yeah, we are starting with Mimra. Just drop that
Sorry,
bombshell on
we
you.
are starting on Miramar,
I
y'all.
I thought I was looking at the wrong map stream. I was like, okay, what am I watching then?
It's funny. I wrote down it's my fault. I wrote down we're starting triple E, we're ending double M, and you know what, guys? That's on me. That's on me. We're going to Miramar, and with that, as you guys see, the plane is in the air, and already off the bat, I mean, okay, water islands. It's a tired thing. We always talk about it. We always ask the gods. They never quite deliver, but for the most part, everything should just about be into play for the teams, at least for where we know everybody likes to land.
Yeah, I mean, lots of the southwest going to be difficult for some teams. Again, eyes go towards Rumblers, who in the optimistic stretch in that direction, to say the least. But looks like we've actually got a big overlap here. It's hard shifts dropping down, I guess, kind of west of Impala, but Spicy Fish and actually pretty much overlapping. Is that Gravity as well? So actually dropped way out, nowhere near some compounds here, even dropping for vehicles. I don't know if this is an audible call, but a little bit messy over on the East Coast here.
I was a sharp shot real quick to pick up that vehicle and just pull back away from the gas stations a little bit crowded. And even just up to the north, you've got Veritas hardships. So 4 teams
Yeah.
all in this tiny little area. That's going to make rotating out of here a little bit difficult, especially with that circle pop. Now, all 4 of those teams are going to have to head northwest to the zone.
Yeah, this is tricky as well because obviously we did talk about rotation paths in. This is now actually 4 teams that got to be careful. I mean, they're going to be late to their looting. They've got to then reconsider their first circle rotation coming in. If this is okay, well, yeah, things remaining difficult for Sharpshire. I don't even know what he hit there to catch them air in the middle of the road, but yeah, they've got to really think about their first circle rotation here with so many teams that are going to be obviously late to their looting phase and also kind of scrambling to find a safe route into circle 1 here.
And we see Cherry taking the very long wrap rotation running there for the compound. Rumblers have been a team that I've really been enjoying watching this weekend. They're not placed particularly high on the leaderboard, but I feel that this is kind of like return of 2019 Rumblers. I feel like maybe with the Valiant kind of in there that we could see some good meshing, but we've really, I think, their dominant position in the late game. I think that we've found them making smarter, better plays along the edge that aren't resulting in just instant death pinches that we've kind of come to see from them out in 2020, and even just kind of the start of this year. So that's definitely a team that I've got my eye on right now.
Yeah, I did. I mean, seeing Valier step back into this had me excited from the get-go. And day 1, game 1, they come out with a win. But I'll be the one to say it. There's not been an awful lot after that for me. I'm still yet to see them really nail the consistency. Again, yes, it's been exciting to see them kind of take these scrappy team fights on the edge, but they can't come out and win them clean. That's the problem. And it's, yes, they look good in the end game, but they're not keeping 4 up consistently. And that's been the biggest problem for me, is kind of getting a little overzealous towards those kind of circle 5, circle 6 fights where really you pin everything on that to kind of get to the end game, and they're losing 1 or 2 with it. As you say that, losses are going to open things up with a little bit of help from Valiate to move Lobes from the board, actually. Rest of Hardchest managed to make it down to Los Leones. I think he was maybe straggling out to the north a little bit. He's going to get punished for that.
I could definitely sense this talking about themselves there.
Yeah, there is one burning there.
Oh, yeah, picked up 1. And, you know, I think on the flip side of this, right, we've seen some teams that, like you said, had a really strong first day and then kind of struggled past that. There's been a couple teams that have had the opposite happen, but hold that thought real quick, because TSM rotating up very close here to Afrit Maniacs. Purdy Curdy getting a little close to comfort. We saw the pressure coming back off, but Hurt and the rest of TSM haven't fully pulled away. And I think they are. There we go. They're going to go ahead and just let them have that compound for now.
Yeah, again, we're deep in kind of TSM territory here. We know they like to spread very, very wide in Circle 1, and Kurt going for his favored magnet compound. We know how much that one gets fed. No surprises there. And actually, Halo and Penta still back over in Hacienda Actual. So I'm going to come back and settle for second choice. Again, letting any team that's dropping round here, they know this is TSM territory. And I'm assuming they know how they like to play this in the early game, especially when they get a good Circle 1 like this. So TSM happy to settle for this. Again, it's second choice, but 2 solid compounds right now with Hacienda and one off to the northwest.
Heck, W Keers trying to wrap. You can see on the minimap, Zenith out to the south. This is a team that has had a very disappointing first start. They've been at the bottom of the leaderboard for much of the weekend, and they've just kind of struggled to win themselves fights. A pretty new roster coming together. I'm sure there's been a growing pains, but considering how stacked this lobby, can be a little bit difficult for some of the rest of the teams to break through. But speaking of breaking through, we got some nades coming out right now from Guadalajara gas cans. Of course, Liberate is going to get 1 knock there onto Evolution. Hikerman picks it up, though, with the aid of Adam. Looking back, I don't know if the wrap is going to come just yet. Actually, it looks like Liberate still had two split onto this.
Yeah, and I think actually gas cans, I mean, they're guessing this right. It's not the full stack of Liberate here. Evolution will get dealt with. Jason, not an awful lot he can do here. It's looking like Baha Waka and Ufas actually going to try and cross him, maybe back this up. I was hopping in a vehicle, but now he's not. No, they're going to give this up. Jason going to wisely pull away. Doesn't want to mess with this full push. And Gascad's actually picking themselves up a decent position in Circle 1 off the back of, you know, just a little bit of scouting and some pressure towards one player on Liberate.
Yeah, but there's still plenty of open space there in San Martin for Jason to play out of. So the smart play for sure to pull back, kind of recover, get any resources he needs, and have an easy way back away to rejoin the rest of his team. We can see right now Dodge trying to get the high ground just on the outside of Afro's compound. Finna I think Vegas reading that situation. I'm gonna go ahead and move yes again. I think it's been really interesting to me, Hypoc, is that as the drive-by meta has kind of continued to evolve, we've been seeing it quite a lot from teams that have just fearlessly been using cars to take pretty much any and every chance to get those early shots and maybe even take on a crash or a fight here in your early games. So Dodge with 4 cars up definitely gives me a little bit of an eyebrow flick to wonder if we might see something similar. But again, Jason actually making it into town. Dodge might not know he's here.
As Lampalot's just has he pinned that? Yeah, he's pinned on top of the barrels. They'll lose one vehicle in this rotation too. Actually, I was gonna say no fault of their own, but really that's got to be Lampalot's fault. But yeah, it's been it's been kind of crazy watching. I mean, it's early game, yes, these circle 1 rotations, and then towards the late game as well, where teams are kind of repositioning with vehicles. They can just wrap the edge, all drive. No, they haven't stuck another one. Go back. I want the observer to go back right now. They just stuck another car in the gym.
I think that's a team that I definitely will never let pick me up from the airport, drive me around. If one of y'all is an Uber driver, I'm just going to swipe left, a new Uber.
That actually just tilted me. I know CD6 is actually just, he doesn't want to switch back because he knows I want to see it now.
Just want to call it liberate. Send us. We want to see how many cars that you guys have just completely, utterly trashed and gotten stuck. But speaking of cars, wraps, rotation, see Zenith's found themselves a nice spot. Decent spread through the center, but you got Spicy Fish and Gravity still coming in from the south. Tac 8 coming in from the north, and otherwise everybody else is fairly pretty well off to themselves until we get that second phase. But as we do know with Miramar, that second zone usually puts itself in just a really, really rough situation. We very rarely get very simple kind shifts on this map.
I was just laughing actually because all 4 teams that were down on the outside of Circle 1 of the southeast, Spicy Fish on your screen right now being one of them. 3 of them have actually wrapped to the same part of the circle, and Gravity is still coming through Chumacera. So, literally all of them have, I guess, off by about 30 to 60 seconds, basically trailed each other in rotations. So they've all had exactly the same plan here. Spicy Fish actually pulling up behind Veritas as well, and Michael slacking behind just a little bit. Roth's going to spot it out. See, he's going to let off the gas a little bit, but it'll be a little bit of a trap set up by Veritas here. But Spicy Fish moving as 4 in rotation, they could potentially just pull up if they can isolate one player.
I mean, if there was ever a player that might potentially chase one player to get that fancy kill, I definitely think that it could be Roth here. And you'd see the rest of Spicy Fish are now following in pursuits as they're trying to figure out whether they want to take this or not. Uncivil, actually. A little bit of, just some friendly banter, who gets to be on the road or not. And you can see, though, up on the hill, hard shifts J-Sank in the area, but he's going to pull back to his car, not going to take this fight. You can see Danny G has managed to get himself some safety there in the warehouse. Couple shots there towards Sharp Shot, and Keenan doesn't connect. No damage towards Spicy Fish, and they're going to continue on as we see that circle is going to hard shift to the south. Oh man.
Yeah, this is a really ugly circle too, actually. You got to take into account, obviously, the power grid unplayable here and how many teams have positioned towards the center and the north. As you can see here, Gravity absolutely laughing. I don't think they're going to be able to really appreciate just how much space and how many opportunities they have, but I want to see them get proactive, start scouting here. There's loads of teams on the move. Edge have actually just sent it straight south out of Hacienda here. Potentially just going to set up with a 2-2 split along the road. Rumbler's going to come in from the east, just south of Minas here. Going to get themselves a really good spot just south of Graveyard, and Oath positioned very well for this as well.
I think a big worry for me right now is that Zavran sent a little bit ahead of Gravity as we saw scouting, but the rest of the team was a bit slow to take this wrap rotation, and they're driving themselves right through Spicy Fish, but Spicy Fish is not going to stop for this. They're going to continue on and keep going out south. So it looks like Gravity, through a stroke of luck, actually doesn't have to fight Spicy Fish or even the Houston Hardships that were also taking a similar wrap to this area.
And Gravity put themselves in a good spot now, but with this circle in particular, we always look at the circle 3 pop because we have to anticipate a little bit of an unplayable shift here. I'm looking at it. Spicy Fish actually now have got in and amongst hard shifts in their rotation. Dietrich's out ahead, 4 members of Spicy Fish behind. Chubba and J-Sank actually shadowing Spicy Fish now. This is This could get really sticky because I can see another two teams once again rapping on the west side. Gascan Veritas as well. About a kilometer behind this. This could get messy towards Picado.
You've got to be thinking that just about every vehicle is in play right now with so many teams on the move. But Team Eternity, another team, once again, had a really good week one, setting themselves up here along the edge. They're not in the zone just yet, but keeping a watch fly on the teams in the area before they descend down to the south. Meanwhile, Hard Shifts still keeping that watch fly on to Spicy Fish, who stopped out here at the warehouse compound. D-Treats connecting now with the rest of the team, as we can see them on the minimap just pulling back up. And Houston Hard Shifts, a team that, once again, I usually look to for these Miramar matches, but things haven't quite been coming together for them just yet. So today might be the day. But as I say that, Roth and Unciv, aware of their presence, are not going to wait for the fight to come to them. They're going to take the fight here to Houston. As we see Civ right now switching to the SLR, spotting out Jay, saying couple shots. That's actually going to be a sharp shot that lands a headshot, getting the knock. Nade coming out from Civ, hoping to pick up a quick flush. Now auto return there on Roth, trying to get some damage there to Chuba, and D-Treats. None will connect. You can see Throwables coming out in force.
And actually, Veritas from all the way over the other side of Picado sending shots this way. See Hard Shifts now going to try and hop into the vehicle. Roth might actually catch D-Treats as he tries to escape. Only one tag though. Chuba already heading through the crater. Now they can just lay down the damage in. And the problem is they're way out in the openness, so loads of damage going to come onto the vehicles here. D-Treats actually gets knocked. Chuba going to try and slip away here to salvage something. As we're talking about here, Veritas with a decent sight line. Yes, it's at range, but enough shots just to keep them off these open angles on the high ground. Chuba will survive for the time being, but again in salvage mode now. And actually, yeah, circle 3-wise, this is a really tricky one now for anybody that's positioned on the west side. They've got to be smart about this. Got to make a quick move and get away from there.
You've had so many teams out to the north, San Martin, Hacienda del Patron, that all need to get into the zone. TSM wasting no time, and potentially might be going for Graveyard. I mean, I'm trying to think of what they could play here that isn't already taken. We know that just the sheer space of Graveyard can sometimes be a little bit easier to crash, but it's like they're going to hold on to that northern compound. Meanwhile, you still got other 7 teams that need to find themselves a spot to put down. So Picado about to get really busy, as well as the eastern side. You've got 3 teams coming in. Zenith, KEKW Kiers, Eternity, and maybe even Afro Maniacs. Looks like they're going for a wide wrap.
Just looking at it, Honey Badger is actually miles away from the rest of Zenith, but they've managed to wrap their way in towards Bendita and get themselves inside the circle. Liberate, getting another knock just outside San Martin. Baja actually split off to the north a little bit here, and Dodge as 4 coming through now. Actually going to spot out Baja Walker. The headshot comes through, going to keep him off that angle, but Afromaniac's not wrapping. They're going to pull up on Oath's doorstep.
Go quick crash. We can see quick action as well as showing Greg shot. Vaulting into the windows very boldly, but Resta Oath has pulled back, gotten a knock and flush there onto Freebie Please and Supernova. So last 2 players still up for AF, but you can see Relo being very proactive with the windows, trying to see if they can get a knock, but also to be careful because you can hear the bullets coming up from afar of rumblers, and I believe also Edge might be taking shots here.
A couple of teams aware of this pull up here. Oath actually, it's after getting 1 kill and seeing TSM lay some damage into the backside of Afromaniacs as well. Just going to settle for playing the south side over towards the church. KEKW Key is actually pretty close by as well, and I think that's maybe why Oath chose to consolidate here and prioritize 1 building to hold on to. Elsewhere, Tactical actually ended up trying to wrap to the west here. Now, we just talked about Picado, Gascans and Veritas now set up inside the city. It's going to be really difficult here to find some space. As Liberate, we know was split off. He did have a vehicle. You can see him trying to regroup now, but Dodge fairly split also over there on the north.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about, the circle presence, and with all those teams that we saw with Liberate and Dodge, they're probably going to have to move down when that phase 4 or 5 pops. So for the teams that are instead choosing to play it south, they're banking on the fact that those future circles will continue to shift away from the high ground, from the mountainous terrain. But Attack 8 coming in a bit late. They knew it was in Picado, but I don't think they factored in Spicy Fish.
Sharpshot actually just lasered Crop there, and Adam's actually going to find a knock on the Wimu as well. Tactical 8 down to 2. Destinator pulling up the rear, still ticking away on the blue damage. And yes, Circle does pull away from the power grid plateau, as we can see. Everybody now from Picado got to move. Veritas have already kind of set up with this split outside, so they have a little bit of a contingency. Ethan and Michael can basically play spoiler on gas cans. Wait for them to have to move out of the city here to see how Veritas decide to play this. Danny G and Jazz are in a really, really pivotal spot for them.
I think another thing I'm really keeping a watchful eye on is what Honey Badger and the rest of Zenith decide to do, because right now Spicy Fish do have a decent chunk
lot of space
torn out there for the bottom. So if they kind of, I think, take too much focus towards Picado, that could really come back to hurt them if Zenith chooses to capitalize on this. But with this amount of space, I mean, there's so much stuff out in the open. You've pretty much just got a handful of shacks, some rocks, some ridges, not much else outside a graveyard.
Yeah, I can see Honey Badger now moving towards the edge of that Cratacom rock, actually all the way down in the base of it. So Honey Badger should be able to figure out there's a lot of space to be had here, as Ethan's actually going to show his hand pretty early. Going to pick up High Command. Now I think actually Gascans may opt to just send it out if they think Veritas is playing split. I don't think they're going to really appreciate that there's only one player here causing problems for them, but the rest of Veritas is already set up to the east of the city.
Yeah, we can see. Oh, Ethan. I'm not sure
Observers
if he
just don't
actually
wanna see
managed to
us,
get that
man.
out. Today's been a day for driving, but you can see the fight now popping off here between Liberate and Gravity. Did pull off from this edge. We've got 3 teams in here. Dodge still in the area as well, but Zavra and the rest of Gravity aren't going to wait around any longer. Blue is here, and they've got to get going. You see Zavra starting to take a little bit of blue damage. DZB, meanwhile, was found in Picado, and that means that gas cams and Veritas continue popping off, but TSM still holding that position in the north, waiting for Dodge to come down off the ridge line. You can see it's just blowing up in the kill feed right now between these two fights.
Yeah, I think literally all 12 people from Picado are about to die here. Gravity trying to send it down as well. Look at it, Veritas absolutely picked apart. It's actually Spicy Fish coming over the top that's doing the majority of this damage, but I think it's just Ethan left standing. Nico standing for gas cans. Oldless is down, and the Sharp Shot and Uncivil just trying to lay the fire down. Loads of damage towards this. But Roth's got to be careful over on the east here, Clover. We talked about his position down in the crater. Honey Badger now has reinforcements, at least Unage has come to back him up. Spicy Fish got to deal with this quickly and think forwards.
I mean, as well, I think a big thing that's going to be helping out Spicy Fish is that KEKW Kiers have been kind of keeping that attention from Zenith away. So some of that localized fighting preventing them from extending too hard into that crater. But Circle has, in fact, popped. It's pulled away a bit from those southern areas. So Spicy Fish going to have to pull themselves back up. Meanwhile, Oath, Eternity fighting out here on the edge as Graveyard gets pulled back away as well. We can see Snaker getting that flush on Steel Vexel, only one up. There he goes. Has been spotted. Eternity hitting Annihilate and Oath. Good, strong first game right now as they pick up 5 kills so far.
Yeah, TSM have heard all of this, though. And you can see Luke 12 having a little sniff out this direction. Snake is actually going to turn back around and find Show on Afromaniacs over on the north side. TSM in a pretty decent position to try and gatekeep Oath. Also recovering from this fight and have to move for the circle. Elsewhere, Zenith. They actually stack up. They've now got KEKW right underneath them in this shack here. A beautiful off angle from Sparking, going to put some mini 14 shots inside the door.
Good, really good shooting as well. If Sparking can hold this angle just a bit longer and they can take care of KEKW Kiers, this could be a good position for Zenith to inevitably take that fight that we've kind of been waiting to see if it does not pop up there with Spicy Fish. But right now, Poonage creeping a bit close, trying to find a different angle onto the shack using AR, but still one more up here. You can see damage coming back out. Meanwhile, up to the north, Oath, TSM finally together at last. And there you go, you can see KEKW was in fact eliminated, so Zenith will win that one out.
Yeah, Oath actually had to jump on TSM there, picked up Halo, and now Light Show actually turns around, finds a knock onto them. TSM have an opportunity to capitalize on that. Snake is actually, keep him honest, Kurt will get forced off that ridge for the time being, but really, really sticky situation for TSM as they're almost boxed in by both teams.
And Greg Shot still also trying to use this as a good opportunity to get some of those damage in, but you can see the throwables coming back out. Oath creating a smoke wall so they could potentially even take this fight without having to worry too hard about Afromaniacs. But you can see the angle's still there. Light show. And a couple of shots, but no knocks here. So connecting some of that damage. Oath now pushed along the bridge line. So Oath's going to have to win out one of these fights, or else they're going to get trapped out in the blue. But great shooting there from Greg Shot. Lands a headshot onto Balefrost.
I mean, actually single-handedly bailing TSM out right now by doing all this damage and preventing Oath from pushing further in. Luke12 actually going to throw out a molly. It might just catch it. No, Reload's going to crawl back. TSM with a really good opportunity to clean him up here. There you go. Penta finds the final kill, and Oath will fall in 9th.
Good shooting out by TSM through the window, finds Greg Shot, picks up one more, and there you go. Afromaniacs eliminated Luke 12. It's insane.
He's shooting laser beams today. That was disgusting.
That was Wheaties this morning. Let's see. Meanwhile, this fight between Zenith and Spicy Fish finally happening. Both teams actually pushing outside zone. The Spicy Fish is going to leave Uncivil behind, try to play that off angle and hold anchor. You can see he's still creeping up onto the high ground. Keenan and Roth looking for an angle here. And it looks like
somehow, I actually only just noticed, Clover, sorry. Somehow Ethan and Nikos survived from all that madness on the west coming out of Picardo and Spicy Fish coming over the top. Somehow now Nikos is dead center circle, Ethan proning in on the west side. I didn't even notice that.
That's true. I mean, last time we saw Nikos, he was really hiding in that smoke, trying to stay alive from all of that shooting that we saw out from Spicy Fish. And might be a big factor for why we still see Uncivil hanging back, making sure not to get surprised by either of those solos whose presence Spicy Fish is well aware of. But now TSM continuing onward now into Rumbler's Shantytown. Got the edge. They've even got a motorcycle here if they want to use that vehicle for different wrap rotation. But right now I can see the creep walking, trying to take this one a little bit quietly.
You know, I think they definitely want this fight. Four strong Rumblers, though. I think they're probably just going to wait for maybe an opportunity where Rumblers are shooting into the circle and slip in the back door. Try and do some damage here. Waldo actually shooting over towards Edge, but Cherry posted up on the north side of the compound is going to get very, very early information here. As soon as TSM start taking steps. He actually moves away.
Oh.
I could leave it wide open. Look at it. Rumblers are actually rotating out of the compound. TSM have got a perfect opportunity here, Clover.
Oh, this could be huge, and I'm not even sure if they heard him with the vehicles making all that noise. Scary running up actually does not sense Kurt at all. There's going to be a trade. Penta does fall here. Luke 12 reloading, actually spotting out some Zenith players who are looking to third party on this, so applying a little bit of pressure. See if they can finish out this fight versus the Rumblers before being taken down by Zenith. But Nate's coming back out. You can see Luke 12 turning his attention once again back into the shanty. Seeing if we can find another angle here onto Waldo and Los.
Well, Luke almost doesn't want to shoot at Zenith here. They kind of keep Rumblers boxed into this one building over on the south side of the compound. It allows TSM to move up here, maybe get some utility inside. You can see already now the molly inside the door. Waldo is cut off, and Rumblers are all being forced into the same spot.
And this could be really good for TSM as well. You're putting him in a spot where Zenith does have a line of sight. As you can see, Poonage is going to get a headshot onto Waldo. That's going to be a big help. But Luke 12, the last one, still up for TSM. Is not going to be able to get that res. You can see Rez is trying to come back out for Rumblers, so just trying to stay ahead of the blue. We can catch that angle. Oh, gets one down low, 19 HP, but right around the corner, Los trades that one out. TSM eliminated into 7th place, but not before tearing apart the Rumblers. Zenith might be able to do something with us. You can see the circle is going to shift. Nikos still inside the zone, and everybody else along the edge is going to have to finish out their fights because there's not much else for coverage.
Really nice try from TSM. Actually, somewhere amidst that fight, it's Nikos that gets the knock onto Kurt. So it's just like the worst possible scenario for TSM. Like I said, Zenith laying down some pressure as well onto Rumblers. Actually, as I say that, Boss is going to respond. Honey Badger will get knocked up on the high ground. Actually, Rumblers still up and fighting for the time being, but they've got to get away from this compound, find some terrain to play.
Nice shooting out from Unciv with the SLR. Civ's been doing quite a bit of damage, but hasn't found himself a kill just yet this match. And these Spicy Fish trying to win this one out. Keenan there is going to take care of Nikos now, and that's first push here into center. But I can see Roth. I mean, this team has pretty much just been watching the West the entire time. They've been waiting for all those teams coming out of Patos. I think Spicy Fish intentions we're going to keep in that direction. Meanwhile, Punij keeping an eye here on the Rumblers who go into our top 4.
The loss unfortunately forced a prone out here, and he's just going to get spammed out with the utility. Waldo got to peek over the top and do something for him, but Sparking actually catches a flash there. Just trying to isolate these one by one here on the run, but Sparking going to find loss. Honey Badger doing enough damage onto Waldo to force him to prone it out behind the rock, but just a matter of time now as they close the distance. Look to find this final kill on the Rumblers.
Oh, that nades. Oh, gonna actually falls just short. The rock's gonna save him here. Waldo still trying to hide out, but right as the peak comes, you see the flashbang. Animation kick again. Sparking does find the angle, gets him, takes him out, and that is it. Zenith now with 6 kills has themselves good control of the circle as Edge and Spicy Fish pushing into each other. This could be a perfect opportunity for Zenith to third party and push both these teams into the edge of the map, though. Spicy Fish still with the high ground.
Actually, steal 1 kill away. Red Spicy Fish from getting with double digits, but again, I think it's a matter of time before they do. They're looking at very dominant position now. That the numbers advantage coming into the final 3 teams. Actually, if they've got a good read on this, they should know that Edge is down to 2 now. I think they should have kill feed info on the rest of Zenith, so expect them to prioritize dealing with Shireen and Femme Fatale and try and get towards the shack that situated on the west side of the circle.
And Vital is going to take some damage there from Zenith. You can see Sparking. Ooh, spots one. That's going to be easy knock there onto Shireen. Tried to pick up the flush before a member of Spicy Fish can steal it out, but Sparking definitely did see that wrap from Roth coming in, and Spicy Fish actually still have a vehicle. They're going to use it. Keenan sending it down the hill. He's still got plenty of coverage here at the ridge line. Lying prone to try and stay alive down the car, but he's going to take some damage from Punij. Good shooting out from Zenith, but 9 kills now. Spicy Fish still 4 up strong. If they could take care of Femme Fatale, that might be all they need to turn their attention back to Zenith. Roth back to the AR for that close range. Good mauling out. Could be it to take out Femme Fatale. It is.
1
Keenan
HP.
down to 1 HP. Now Sparking, great shooting from Sparking Day. 6 kills thus far, but you see his helmet and vest are just absolutely obliterated. Just gotta be very careful with these peaks.
He does indeed. He's going to come through, going to get the bleed out here, so it brings it to a 3v3, and Sparking looking to get very aggressive on the back, and that gets close enough to do a lot of damage onto Keenan inside the shack. Roth has to take cover inside these smokes now, but they need to get Sparking off this rock. He's holding them at bay for the time being.
Sparking with no more utility left, but it's still going to be able to find Roth, immediately turning his attention back to Keenan, waiting for the response from that. Ooh, damage. There you go. Sparking almost getting enough, but just doesn't quite connect those shots, and immediately is going to get headshot down by Civ. And you can see Badger still creeping up this slowly, hoping to get Civ by surprise. You can see Civ keeping a watchful eye on the area of where Punij is. He's not going to be expecting this at all.
I think you just heard it. I think you just heard it there. You see him just check over the top of the ridge there. Now Honey Badger going to get the re-knock here. Uncivil gets knocked on the top as well, so it's just down to Keenan as he tries to cross back towards. Look at that, going to get the flush, but down to about 20 HP now. Honey Badger going to send a Molotov towards the shack, and I think that's going to deal with it. There you go. Lands the final shot, and Zenith come out with a 12-kill win here in game 1, and I got to say, really, really well played by them. They were very, very passive, actually, when they had a very favorable circle shift in the mid game that kind of pulled towards that crater. Like I said, they spotted out where Roth was, where he was playing down in the low ground. Didn't really kind of try to exert action towards them. Just bided their time on the east side.
I mean, you talked about this being one of the rosters to keep an eye on before we started this match, and coming out with a very strong showing, as well as Spicy Fish, another team that, once again,
Yeah.
we've been so excited to see performance-wise. Not a strong start for a couple of other things. TSM, decent kills, went out a little bit early. Oath, once again, as well, finding those kills, but going out a bit early as well. So, be interesting to see how the leaderboard looks at the end of the game. But, guys, with that, it is the end of match 1. We're going to go do a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with our second game of the day.
whatever you told me, I know what I could be. Making emotion paintable answers. Tell me, is this what you made me? I'm the storm that meets the moon. I'm the sun that will never do you think you are.
All right, and we're back. I'm Clover. He's Hypoc, and this is PUBG Continental Series 4, day number 4, group stages. Hypoc, we just had a very fun first day on Miramar. Let's take a look at the leaderboard and help you. Maybe you can help me walk through this.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it was a very dominant performance from Zenith there, biding their time through the mid game, waiting for kind of the space to really be given to them on a silver platter. At that point, able to find all the kills to find access to the end game. And at that point, I got to say, Sparking puts himself in a really, really good position to ultimately punish, I guess, Spicy Fish's attempt to split along the west side. Uncivil, unfortunately, gets caught out, and really he was I guess the pivotal player for Spicy Fish in terms of shutting down the two flanks coming out from Zenith. But yeah, just really, really well played game all around from them.
You can see TSM also rounding out the top 3. They did go out fairly early, but those 8 kills was enough to allot them up there in a third. And it kind of just shows how top heavy that game was. Real quick before we get into the next match, we'll take a quick look at kill leaders, see how everybody's doing, and we'll just refresh leaderboard. Sorry. But no, this is going to be a big day for a lot of these teams. As we saw last week, for some of these teams, kind of getting to have that first and last day of play. Good growth there for TSM, and we can see already there for the match, Sparking with 7 kills, Sharpshot with 5, Kurt with 4, Reload and Los rounding out with 3 as well. And so, that said, I mean, kind of looking for some more repeat performances from some of these players. Sparking really starting to step it up now. I think feeling comfortable in his role.
Well, I mean, I said about Zenith hopefully getting across that final hurdle and starting to close out some games, and that's how you want to start the day out, right? Really, really convincing performance from them, and some comfortable rotations as well through the mid game that I'd already identified. You can see here, Unich, Honey Badger, and Sparking all represented in the damage leaders for the previous game. Luke 12 actually coming up with 822, and we know TSM kind of went for that salvage play and ultimately tried to push into the backside of Rumblers and did a lot of damage there. Like you said, only I think coming out with 1 placement point, but the kills alone brings them up, maintains the average for TSM. Just doing what they do, man. It's a joy to watch.
There we go. The overall leaderboard view. TSM still in first place with 140 points, but now Zenith Esports 115. They've jumped Sonics. They've got 2 chicken dinners to their names as well, and still plenty more matches left to play.
Yeah, it is. Again, look at obviously Sonic's not playing today. Ascendance Group C as well. Any troubles in chat? Only 3 actually on the left side of the leaderboard here, so expect a lot of shuffling, be it 1 or 2 places as each game progresses here. But TSM, again, that gap just keeps on stretching, man. It's crazy.
I mean, it was always true with shoot to kill. When we see along the name of TSM, that follows pursuit. If you give them a little bit of space, it's going to be really hard to catch up, or else those teams are going to continue chasing on. But again, this is just the group stage, so there's still plenty of more opportunities for us, those teams going forward. But with that, we are in the plane and ready to start match number 2.
Yeah, and this time around, I mean, Southwest inaccessible in the previous game, and this time around it's the Northwest. So but a lot more teams dropping in the first half here to maybe stretch out to some of these less popular areas of the north side of the map. Then it's straight out. TSM obviously heading the right way, but I'm surprised actually because lots of people coming south. It's going to be interesting to see if we have the same sort of overlap as we did in game 1 down towards Puerto Pariso, south of Impala here. Looks like the teams in question. I'm actually surprised how many teams are dropping out south of this plane path, Clover. This is kind of wild.
Yeah, I mean, we had 4 teams in or around gas station last game, and while a couple did pull away from that position, it looks like they're all still going south Spicy Fish should win out Puerto. But look, you've got Gravity, Keck W Keers, Liberate, TAC 8, all right on top of each other. Dodge, and even kind of in and around this area, Houston Hearts, Veritas, in a position to potentially punish any team that might try to rotate out of here.
Yeah, this is that's a lot of teams to be south of Leonis. Kind of worrying where this first set. I mean, if Circle 1 pops down there, it's gonna be great. Oh, okay, cool. Of course.
Please,
of course it does.
Please, please, PUBG. Please. An island circle. I'll say my prayers. I will give up pineapple on pizza. Whatever needs to be done if we can have a municipal circle.
I mean, this is this is going to be so awkward for some of these teams on with South, because there's no point in them wrapping North to try and come into. Because look at what you have to wrap North into, right? It's wrapping next to Los Leones, wrapping next to Chumacera. They're not good rotation paths. So, I mean, if you're Spicy Fish now and you haven't got a really good read on who dropped not that long after you out of the plane, that's what, 6 teams potentially you got to cross.
I mean, maybe the play might even potentially be for one or more of these teams to start doing boat rotations and go in from Higos from various points, because not only do you have to route the island and the water, but you've still got the entire western shelf that's also unplayable. So essentially, only 40% of phase number 1 is on the mainland. And playable zones. So it's going to be really interesting to see how phase 2 possible, like you said, the teams that aren't in the zone right now, how they're going to get themselves in. Rumbler's in the best position right now. Even Dodge could potentially play the edge and gatekeep. They've already sent Vegas ahead to investigate a first spot to put down. So definitely teams to watch as we pretty much wait for everybody to loot. Like you said, I mean, some of these guys aren't going to have the time that they really need to play this first phase, because they're going to have to start thinking about positioning.
Yeah, Vegas getting out ahead, though, could, I guess, lead Dodge into almost a false sense of security here with Liberate looting down that road. Tactical 8 trying to make moves west already as well. Looks like Weemoo and Steezy BB trying to loot something a little closer to the circle, pulling away from Los Leones. But the rest of Dodge aren't on the move yet, and Liberate have already got themselves set up at the crossroads. Now, so I've got my eyes glued down onto who's doing what, whether or not there's going to be somebody actually that holds onto the crossroads, holds onto the bridge, does something a little bit funky here. Liberate actually going to head across towards Los Higos. Actually get themselves situated again. Similar plan to Tactical 8. Get inside the circle, loot something, give yourselves a little more time to do so.
You know, I don't think Liberate's a stranger to playing here on Los Higos. I've seen them come onto the island lots of times in the past, but we do still have a couple of other players out and around those areas. Jumbi actually landing away from the rest of his team. And
I was just about to say, sorry, Clever, he literally just spawned in because I think he DC'd. I think he's literally dropped to the end of the plane path.
Oh no.
He literally spawned in out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes the PUBG gods are working in your favor. Jumbi actually not drowning, finding themselves a Car 98, plenty of loot, and you know that's a good information to call out. The hard thing, of course, is going to be that you're sandwiched now for the rest of your team with Liberate, Dodge, and everybody else in between. But 40 seconds until this phase will start to go on the move. Will close. We'll see where phase 2 comes shortly after that. And I mean, I want to be toxic. I even just give me a 50-50 split. Let's maybe have a little bit of the islands, a little bit of the coastline. We've seen that circle actually quite a bit, but that can be, you know, as we talked about, really difficult for some of those teams to play. And I think that might be what some of these squads are anticipating, because a lot of people are really trying to hold themselves as far south as they can on the mainland. Liberate
are about to crash into Afromaniacs over on the West Bridge. Like, what is going on? Liberate obviously sent it towards Los Higos. Actually, one member still all the way back in Los Higos looting, and the other 3 members actually trying to pull up onto Afromaniacs here. I think they're maybe reading that this is a solo, but it's 3 members of Afromaniacs here, all set up. Evolution actually trying to get a flank on the high ground here. Greg's already wise to it.
Well, if Evolution can get the opening knock onto Greg shot, that could be huge for Liberate, but shots coming out from Greg. They won't connect to the start, but a second string will as Evolution gets knocked out. Greg shot picking up the flush. You can see the rest of Liberate trying to play this one out now. Boros often called these the unpushable buildings, and that is unfortunate for Jason as he has chosen to take this push here onto Supernova. And well, we could see Bahawaka playing anchor on the other building up on the second story. Bahawaka actually subbing in for Ice Tech today. Unfortunately, couldn't play. So it's going to be interesting to see if Baka can maybe spot somebody else out on the ridge line right now. Just focusing on that long door. Meanwhile, there you go. There is the last member of Liberate finally joining in to help out.
Come up and reinforce here is actually Light Show going to send it down the bridge and maybe actually find himself a nice off angle to keep Liberate at bay. Jason already posted in the ground floor and Free Me Please opposite him in the corridor with a Mexican standoff of who's going to make the move first.
Greg Shot really trying not to give up any of those rock angles to play, but you do need to be a bit mindful. The longer this goes on, the more teams that are starting to move in this area. But speaking of teams and moving, Veritas still not in the zone, but taking shots towards Gravity, who rotated through near the area. Michael trying to hit some real long distance shots, but it's not going to connect any of these. Meanwhile, I mean, Veritas, one of the last few teams out here to the east. We still got Zenith and Oath, the area just barely up to the north, so they'll have to be mindful going in. That said, I mean, Rumblers now an edge, finding themselves as center as you can with this zone, trying to play the high grounds. Should this pull away from the islands, could be a fantastic position moving forward.
Could be is finally see Free Me Please open up that fight down the crossroads, and actually KW Key has put it up on the backside of this. They're gonna have all the information now that two teams are scrapping over this compound at the crossroads. Light Show actually pulling away on the bridge, it looks like. So KW Keys are actually trying to backfill Liberate here. Liberate going to find themselves pinched.
We've got 4 teams now on the mainland, potentially 5 soon as the Spicy Fish starting to rotate in from the east. So KW Keys said backfilled that building that Liberate kind of came in from, but they're taking their time with this, so they do need to be a bit mindful of how they want to take this fight. Still 1 minute and 40 seconds until Blue Zone closes and we see phase 2. They don't want to get yourself locked in here. If we hard shift away from this island, you're suddenly going to have quite a whole lot of people.
Hard shift south, please. Please. I beg you.
Free driving.
Who was that?
Who did this?
Who did this?
So I know never to ride in a car with that person. I think it's another member of Hard Shifts again.
You're going to hear this. It's a 4-strong Spicy Fish coming up. Actually, Sharpshot going to cut the engine. I'm not sure if he heard Jumbi's vehicle.
Oh, I think he
But
did.
we know Jumbi was the solo from Eternity. Please don't shoot. If you shoot Jumbi, you're dead.
Oh, Jumbi.
I'm pretty sure Sharpshot heard him, man. The timing of him cutting his engine there.
Mm-hmm. He might have even seen him coming down the road. We could see Civ, Spicy.
Yeah, potentially,
really, the entire Spicy Fish team is watching this compound, seeing if they could spot out Jumbi, trying to figure out whether or not it was just a solo or could there be a whole squad here. And given, honestly, I think we're not going to see too much until that phase closes. Once that phase closes, all bets are off.
I literally have my eyes glued to the map stream right now. I'm sorry.
I'm doing the same.
The next 10 seconds,
I've wanted an island circle my whole life. Please, just this one time. Who do I have to bribe? I know that you guys always say it's us, the casters, that do it, but it's not.
Oh no!
Apparently, I'm not bribing the right people.
I'm so sad now.
I thought, Paper Thins had some of these. Some of the other regions have had some of these. When is NA? When did we get this one? It's been too long.
This makes it interesting here is that Spicy Fish will spot out Jumbi. That he's not actually going to catch him here, but Roth trying to close down this kill as quickly as possible. Actually, they think he's inside, but Jumbi's actually on the outside, so he might catch and not. Don't let him flush that one. It will be quickly traded. No, nearly. He tries to go for the flushes. He's going to bleed out. Oh, sharp shot. So lucky there. Jumbi was absolutely foaming at the mouth to get that flush there. Spicy Fish able to trade him. Get sharp shot back on his feet quickly enough, though. But Back over on the crossroads, you can see now Afromaniacs try and slip away from this situation and leave Liberate to deal with KEKW Kiers.
Yeah, and Liberate's in an unfortunate position that most of their vehicles, all the tires are really damaged. So they're going to have to take care of KEKW Kiers if they want to get out of this position, as they're going to have to move forward on foot. You can see Frisk holding another angle. Meanwhile, TSM, who rotated far and around the north, is rotating themselves now onto Rumblers, looking for that center position. We talked earlier about Rumblers and Edge being in a good spot if this went north. And that's why TSM wants these concretes right now. But Cherry getting knocked onto Kurt. Cherry trying to hold another angle here. Meanwhile, rest of Rumblers pushing in. And this could spell trouble for TSM if they can't get themselves out to safety. Good car explosion from Waldo, but it's not going to find any knocker damage to a member of TSM. Pushing through. It's like Cherry finds Alo. Oh, TSM eliminated. There you go. Great play by Rumblers, who managed to hold this position, but Edge just a little bit slow on the reaction to third party this. Some shooting out towards Rumblers.
Yeah, it's tough there. I mean, TSM coming really, really late down the West Road, and I guess anticipate just being in a lot of space and having basically first dibs on any compound, right? So effectively pin everything on a 4-man pull-up onto Rumblers concrete. They defend it well, and you're absolutely right. I mean, Edge were in a position to both punish the crash and Rumblers being split onto the terrain just south of that compound as well, slightly. Still, now, actually, Spicy Fish pulling up on the backside. We've still got three teams down on the south side of the bridge. Liberate just praying that, I guess, KEKW Kiers and Spicy Fish are going to end up fighting here, and they can maybe slip away unnoticed.
I'm wondering if Nitrogen is thinking of swimming across right now. As you can see, keeping a watchful eye on how far he could potentially crawl back down. Put some distance between him and Keenan and Sharpshot, but is going to stay up in this area to continue to fight. It's like KEKW Kiers really the gatekeepers from Spicy Fish. Once the blue zone closes, the only way back across is through the bridge. You've got Liberate still in the area. Across the bridge teams as well. So if Spicy Fish, we've seen them play some of these times very aggressive, where they'll just push forward from building to building and look to clean, but there's a little bit too many people in the area to do that well. And oh my gosh, that circle shift is actually gonna help these teams.
Oh my god. And lots of water to be included in phase 3, so I guess somehow redeeming itself. We'll allow that.
Roth and Civ are actually going to go ahead and just send it and look for that quick rotation across. Roth and Civ driving to the water, finish out swimming, and try to get one of those ridge lines early on with hardship gas cans also sending it out south. Meanwhile, KEKW Kiers Liberate still fighting back out. Looks like Liberate is going to fall. Now Baja Waka spotted out by Winnie. That means KEKW Kiers have pretty much free reign to cross the bridge should they choose. So your Talitative going for that res on to Freeze.
That's where back on the main. I was going to say Hardshift's actually going to have gas cans pulling past them in full force. Only able to find one. It's actually Vegas that steals it away with a Bolty at distance. Way, way uphill. And Spicy Fish do make a cross as well. Well, they're going to have good access to a couple of compounds down the south side of the circle. Gravity, meanwhile, in the thick of it with Zenith here in the ridges.
Good nades out by Zenith. You can see Batty's got one primed, ready to go as well. Meanwhile, Rumbler's going to pull back away from their compound. It looks like that fight with Edge never popped off. Back in hand with Zenith and Gravity. See, Batty is just trying to stay alive. Sparking getting the res onto Punich. And Honey Badger is actually going to go wide enough to get that flush onto Zovran, but hoping to find another angle here onto Batty. But good nade out by Shinboy. Gets Batty real low. There you go. Headshot finishes the job. Gravity eliminated in 14th place.
Veritas actually leaning this direction as well, I guess, hearing these shots in the distance. But nobody knocked from Zenith, so they're going to be quickly able to recover from this. As I say that, reload from the high ground, going to find Shinboy. Now Veritas have got some good information on Zenith, and they know that they're outside the circle right now. So whether or not Veritas decide to push a little further north, because Oath effectively cutting off a lot of their rotation routes straight into the circle.
This is really detrimental for Zenith, he said. I mean, Veritas is not letting go of watching that angle, but Oath really starting to commit to this fight. The thing that might hurt Oath here is that Attack 8, keeping an eye on what's going on, hearing the shots, seeing the kill feed, has sent Destinator out to investigate as well. And so Oath gonna have to try and pick a battle. Do they give up this high ground? Maybe potentially take the fight here to Attack 8, or do they keep an eye on Zenith? And you can see now Jazza and some shots. I'm going to connect some damage. No knocks yet here, Zenith, but they've got Tar out. Shinboy sitting it ahead, trying to reposition for the next zone just as the blue closes. We'll have that next circle here in just a few seconds. Lunage hanging back in the blue. The circle's going to pop. It should pull away from the water. And it's going to center itself up pretty much on Michael.
Yeah, just to make it even weirder. And now Spicy Fish have a really good section of terrain to play here. A compound to themselves situated in as well. And here you go, Veritas finally pulling the trigger on Zenith. We'll find Poonage. The rest of Zenith actually drifting towards Tactical 8. He's stuck now in the low ground underneath their compound.
I think my big fear right now is Michael going to get caught off guard by gas cans who are looking for a dip to sit center right now? Good shooting out from Michael's going to keep gas cans from committing just a bit too hard, stopping down below here on the ridge, and it's going to give the high ground still to Veritas. While the rest of the team comes to join, you can see them driving in there on the mini-map. Jazza leading the charge, try to help out along Zenith. Meanwhile, has picked themselves up a compound just to the north. You can see sparking out in there as well, but Attack 8 on the move, spotted out by Oak. Balefrost, the knockout across, finds the flush. Can pick up a second one. Good shooting that isn't going to connect there onto Liam. It's easy. Getting a little bit of damage onto Relo, pushes him back.
Is Oath now going to make a decision? Do they want to force this fight? Is Edge actually going to pull up on the backside of Loeb's compound? Hardship spread very thin throughout this part of the map. I think with a little bit of time and space to get themselves situated in a mid game. Now you're going to try and consolidate here and defend this push from Edge. Is Chubba going to get himself a good angle? And last three members of Edge actually get themselves into the same building here. Was boxed in by this.
It's amazing to me that Edge was even able to take this compound, rotating themselves essentially through Houston hardships. That did come at the cost of Shoreen, but these can be pretty hard to push. So you can see Huni trying to find another angle there to shoot, but here comes the throwables. Houston hardships are waiting for the right moment to use them. Molotovs, nades are out here in force. And Nana trying to get a quick first aid pop off, as well as Femme Fatale as they're preparing for this long haul fight. Keck W Kiers are across the street, could maybe aid in this. So Houston hardship do need to be a little bit careful about how much they extend themselves. Chuba actually a bit vulnerable to multiple squads from that angle.
I can see somebody setting up a gas can, pouring it all over the floor, and somebody with a shotgun. So if hardships decide to push this, it could very well be their demise and cost them dearly.
Meanwhile, up to the north, let's see, Dodge a decent position here. Unfortunately, lost Halo Senpai to this, but Oath coming back down now from the high ground and still, I think, committing to that fight with Zenith. You know, that's the fight they've got the information on. But with the circle here playing the edge, there's not going to be a lot of options moving forward. When you just see how much open terrain is down below, all the compounds right now are currently occupied by Dodge. Taking shots for Eternity.
Lots of damage actually coming out from Dodge here as Eternity try and make their way downhill. Aegis going to find a knockdown to steal. Freeweeklings actually steals that one away, and hardships do end up pushing here. Like I said, oh my god, it's chaos upstairs.
He treats down low to 11 HP. Oh, he's going to have to heal first before getting a res potentially onto Chubba. We see those nades continuing to come back out. D-Treats is going to stay up and alive from this J-Sync. It's just being used as bait right now as rest of Team Edge trying to recover. They are going to get the res there onto Honey. Stay 3 up. I mean, you talked about that shotgun. This might be it. We might actually see Nana use this.
I think he got a knock in there with it. They had a crossfire set up at the top of the stairs with the utility as well. And like I said, the gas can. Now, actually, it's gas can's going to put some damage in. Heikeman with a lot of damage onto Chubba on the ground floor here. How do Edge play this?
Hardships and Edge might get a little bit of a reprieve. A couple teams starting to take away the attention from gas cans, but more teams out to the north. Again, that circle did hard shift out to the south. So you've got Oath, Zenith, Dodge, and Rumblers, all who need to get themselves into zone, holding onto vehicles, wrapping in. But as we've seen with the rest of those fights going on, there is no real free building. Team Edge is going to be eliminated, though. Hardships win that one out. And we can see now Dodge being caught on the rotation there. Balefrost getting a knock and flush onto Lampalots and spotting out members of the gas can. So Oath work their way into zone close slowly, but they are going to clear out Zenith now. Eliminated 11th as they're spotted out by Veritas. Snakers getting sparking as well.
Yeah, Oath actually making fights with like 3 different teams right now, but for the time being, just trying to create some pressure for them maybe to move into this circle as Vexel tries to set up for this prone spray onto Chubba, but only a little bit of damage goes through. J-Sank now going to try and make a move in the vehicle. I think Chubba, yeah, not long for this. It's actually Hiker Man that finds him all the way over in the northeast uphill. J-Sank making moves as well, trying to hit the drive-by on Waldo. Gets a decent amount of damage. Actually going to find the knock.
A drive-by meta continues. J-Sank picks up 1. D-Treats as well, still behind the wheel. So 2 members of Hardships trying to drive center, potentially playing for the shack that surprisingly is free, but getting into it is going to be difficult. You can see every angle right now has been watched. D-Treats down to 9 HP. Is going to manage to get inside, but he is going to lose J-Sank. So doors closed, heels are off, and oh no!
Oh no!
A Molotov is going to do him dirty. That's it. D-Treats falls.
Yeah, proactive from Gascans there. Eliminate the threat. Don't let anybody survive through to the end game as Veritas now looking down over Oath and sending shots back towards Spicy Fish. Next circle pulls slightly up to the northeast, so it'll be really difficult actually. Veritas can't play the high ground now. Oath's going to be very exposed, and really there's not an awful lot to play in the center of this circle, Clover.
There really isn't. That's why we see teams just desperately clinging to the edge of zone right now. Spicy Fish, though, have pretty much wrapped through the entirety of the south, now up the east as they try to take the high ground away from Veritas. Roth getting a knock and flush onto Ethan, and that is definitely one of the players that Veritas really need to keep an eye out for. So shooting out toward Michael doesn't quite connect fully at Roth. I'm going to see if he can knock another here for Veritas. He's still got 1 member of Oath on the backside. You can see him just sticking out there on the mini-map. And now gas cans are actually going to pull away and focus on the west. So that's going to help out just a little bit.
Got Sharpshot's position, though, Clover. He's managed to get right underneath Veritas here. His teammates are going to be able to cover this over peak. If they lay any damage, find a headshot or anything, it's going to be the green light for Sharpshot. Swing over the top and capitalize on it. But if this rides out, Sharpshot can play very slow on the circle. They are on the slow side as Veritas try and reset back the west and maybe try and dig Relo out from underneath these rocks, but they've got to be careful dropping down here.
That's the first down, lands right on top of Relo, spots him out. Danny G down to 6 HP, is going to survive yet again. This cat of 9 lives, but you can see no more helmet. That vest is destroyed. So Veritas starting to run a little bit low on resources just from all the fighting that they've kind of been stuck handling up here to the north.
And Spicy Fish again, after showing enough presence to force Veritas west, now can reset to the compound. They've themselves, I mean, a lot of zone control here over on the east side. Sending some shots towards Keck W Keys. Now Supernova still outside the zone on the west. To find his way in. Fry is actually not too far in front of him. He's going to take some shots from the high ground here. Veritas, I think, spotting him out.
Good shooting out from Freesk. Unfortunately, none of it is connecting. And you can see a good presence here from Keck W Keers for this zone as Supernova gets spotted out. That was really the biggest thorn in Keck W Keers' side, is dealing with that 1 player out in their area. And so now they've kind of got free reign for this territory, but you still got 4 members for Spicy Fish up, 3 for Veritas. And of course, the 2 players for Gascans, Nikos and Adams, still found themselves a bit of a ridgeline. They've got 2 working vehicles as well, so that could make a rapid rotation pretty much free for them in any direction. Veritas is the team I'm actually concerned the most about. Yes, they have the high ground, but coming down from that position is going to be next to impossible without losing at least 1 player.
Now Keck W forced to play, nitrogen or retaliative at least, forced to play inside this shack now as again the circle pulls towards the southeast, and Spicy Fish just thanking their lucky stars now. Put themselves into a really good late game position in game 1 and even better here in game 2.
I think the thing that's most confusing to me is that the number of kills besides Spicy Fish's name is only 3. They've been engaged in so many fights. They've been doing so much damage, but a lot of their knocks have been, stolen. Some of the fights have resulted in reses, and so they don't quite have as much to show for the amount of work that they've been putting in this evening. Veritas as well, only 5 kills, even though they've been in multiple engagements with multiple squads.
Now Veritas still trying to dig out gas cans here. If Energy going to land a nice spray, Nico's had to trade it back out. We'll get some decent damage onto Jazza as well up top. Nico's going to...
Fantastic shooting from Nico. So it was almost a full wipe. That nade might be enough to do some extra work here. And I think he should have enough time to get this res off onto Adam.
He's actually going to get it. It's actually, I think, Jazza's spotted out by Frisco over on the west side. And it's just Michael left for Veritas now. Gascan's going to get back 2 on their feet. The Spicy Fish spread even further now. Sharpshot and Keenan making use of this high ground whilst the circle's closing in. And lay some more damage into the circle. Gascan's now going to make a desperation move. Where do they go?
Those vehicles coming into play. We talked about Nikos unfortunately getting spotted out there by Spicy Fish. And Adam is just going to full send into smoke, hoping to catch somebody here. But fortunately, car crashing to another one. Nade out into the shack, but we can see Kecked Up Kiers already pulled back out. The Nitrogen is knocked inside. Retaliative just doesn't have the angle here onto Adam. He should see him now, and there you go. Gas cans eliminated. Retaliative, very, very nice.
I'm not sure that. I thought Adam was going to send a nade inside and then Molly on the outside. I don't know if he misread maybe which side the door was on, but like a little bit of hesitation with the utility there, and then hops up on the hood of the car. And gets dealt with very quickly. But Spicy Fish, meanwhile, get themselves up to 5 kills, only finding another couple throughout that rotation. It looks like Sharpshot's got a decent idea of where Michael is, and just a matter of time with Roth making moves on the shack here. No utility though.
I really like this
stranglehold on this late game. Oh, it's beautiful to watch.
I mean, you got a 2-2 split, or really a 2-1-1. You got Civ playing anchor. You said Keenan and Sharpshot up to the north to keep an eye on what was left of that Veritas fight. Now Roth trying to pull up the angle here to Kecked Up Kiers. We'll find one, gets a knock on to Retaliative. Nitrogen, who was managed to get res, is going to pull back into that shack one more time. But Roth wasting absolutely no time wrapping around looking to find another angle for entrance. Meanwhile, we can see the rest of the teams popping back off to the north, but that's still not going to slow down Roth, trying to see if he can catch off Nitrogen before the res comes out. Keenan actually pushing down from the hill as well, seeing if they can sandwich Nitrogen and take care of Keck W. Kiers, while Sharpshot keeping the pressure onto Michael.
It's just really, really good control here. But as I say that, Sharpshot actually is caught with his pants down up on the north side, and a very difficult res here if Uncivil can even close the distance. Roth is going to find a sight line. Then Michael actually going to flush out Sharpshot. That might give Tech W an opportunity to find this res. Michael actually going to find an Orm and a level 3 gear in the late game. Uncivil, if he just peeks over that ridge. I think Michael spotted him out as well. Nothing but bandages for Michael.
I mean, great playing by Michael. You really split the attention there for Spicy Fish, who, as you said, really had everything kind of in the bag. The moment that we saw that knock come out onto Sharpshot, Roth actually broke his attention away entirely and kind of looked back over towards what was happening there with Veritas. And that allowed Keck W. Kiers the opportunity to get that res, now standing 2 up, healthy and strong. And meanwhile, Michael has managed to be able to pop off quite a few bandages. He's still got 8 more. No more first aids, but at least for right now, the rest of Spicy Fish is no longer kind of an immediate threat, I guess we could say, as it looks like they've really just turned their attention back to Keck W. Kiers. But Civ with a beautiful headshot there onto Nitrogen finds one. But again, we see Spicy Fish still being really cautious with Michael up to the north.
Yeah, they've just about got enough time to get this res. Now, Uncivil got to be careful. Is it... Oh, did he not spot him? Michael didn't see him. Oh, he does see him now. One of his teammates had just called him and was like, you see him up on the high ground there. He didn't even readjust there, but Uncivil actually going to respect it for the time being. Retaliative going to find Roth now. Veritas and Keck W could take down Spicy Fish in the end game.
Not sure if Keenan heard Nitrogen, but Nitrogen's actually rotating back up onto Roth. There you go. Definitely knows now as the flashbang has been thrown. Nitrogen lying prone, and Keenan didn't see him on that first ridge line, so it's a bit further than expect. But now that we're going into phase 9, the circle is going to close out in this direction. So Nitrogen, if he wants to stay ahead of the blue, has no choice but to act now. Meanwhile, Civ spotting out Michael is going to get him down to about half HP. The flashbang thrown, getting ready to push onto this. It is a 2v1v1. They've got to take care of one of the solos if Spicy Fish stand a chance to win this. There you go. Michael's taken out, and now both members can turn all of their attention to Nitrogen. They know exactly where he is. Rap coming out through, smokes are out, but Civ pulling back towards the center. They are just waiting for him to show.
As he's got the smoke to play behind here as Several and Keenan going to stack actually towards the same side of the circle now. To give a little bit of control up, a little bit of damage comes through from Nitrogen, but the second peak from Keenan absolutely perfectly timed as soon as he shows his hand, and Spicy Fish do close that game out. I got a little bit worried there that maybe Spicy Fish were a little overzealous, trying to, I guess, overemphasize that crowd control. Maybe a little bit of split focus in dealing with one team at a time, but luckily come through. They closed that one out with 2 surviving and 7 kills as well. Like you said, they were very, very active, I think, pressuring through the mid game, but unable to really take any clean team fights there with that weird rotation back from Los Higos.
Yeah, I mean, the circles were not kind to so many of those teams. So impressive to see not only Keck W. Kears, but Spicy Fish up through the late game, 2 of the teams that had that presence there on Los Higos and the island. But we've got one more Miramar game to go, and maybe we'll luck out. These players will get to have an easy game for once without some chaotic circles. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment with more PCS4. All right, guys, we are back with PUBG Continental Series for America's Group Stage, Day 4. I'm Clover, he's Hypoc, and Hypoc, why don't you walk me through the match standings for the last game that we just watched?
Yeah, a good performance once again from Spicy Fish, getting themselves into the end game. This time we'll close out the win, 17-point win at that. Like I said, a little surprising, but you know they had a lot of ground to cover, and they did try and get very active. I mean, all that pressure over on the north side, really well played actually to kind of, I guess, herd Veritas to head west, and ultimately that was what kind of gave them a lot of freedom in the end game. But notable performances from Keck WK is another team actually that was down on the South Island on Los Egos, one of the teams that got into it in the crossroads actually with liberating Afromaniacs very early on. I got to say, I'm just a little heartbroken that Circle 2 didn't bounce south, Clover.
Top 10 anime betrayals of all time. I thought for sure this was going to be the one time we finally get to cast that island circle. But that said, let's take a quick look at the overall standings now for all teams in lobbies A, B, and C. Or excuse me. Wow, I'm doing this wrong. No, this is right. We're doing kills.
P6
I'm
actually
messing up.
trolling you tonight.
I think I'm trolling myself here. There we go. Top kills. It's gonna be Freesk actually with Keck W Kiers with 4. I mean, we kind of talked about it a bit at the end. A lot of the teams that were winning weren't very kill heavy. This wasn't as match heavy, top heavy of the match as we've seen in the lobbies. So Michael, Nikos, Totalitive, and Cherry rounding it out with 4 and 3 kills apiece. Go ahead and take a quick look at damage. I should expect to see a bit of Spicy Fish up here as we saw at the very end of the match. I mean, they were putting in work this whole game. They just weren't able to really clutch on the end.
Yeah, and I
mean,
think
they clutched the win, but
yeah, I think it's fair to say that statistically, this is probably a byproduct of how that game played out. Lots of teams kind of anticipating where that circle was going to go, maybe second guessing themselves, and then find themselves, running into a different team almost unexpectedly, right? Lots of fighting happening out on the edge over weird compounds in the terrain. So I think it was by phase 6 or something, we were down to maybe sub 20 players. Lots of teams kind of trading out points, and only a few solos and duos making it into phase 6 and phase 7.
all right, and now is the time. Overall leaderboard. We can see TSM, not much of a climb there. That match is 140 points still, but Zenith Esports 120. So they're starting to close the gap. 20 points behind TSM. I think it's safe to say, with as many games that are left, it could be a potential that TSM does not win away here with first. But Spicy Fish now 115, picking up another chicken dinner, and Oath also having another decent game for themselves, finding ways to pick up points. So good games here for both those A and B teams. We're seeing, see who's not played today start to drop off. But for teams like Rumblers, Dodge, Take, Afromaniacs, Oath, you really want to come out as strong as you can today for those games that you don't get to play out later in this week, as we do know they should be done after tomorrow. So we talked a bit about, last week, Oath had a really bad first day. I want to see them have a good first day, a good day tomorrow as well, so that maybe they could finish out this week pretty strong.
Yeah, it was actually, notably they did close out Miramar very comfortably. So look for them to maybe have a good game here on the last one of the night and get themselves. I mean, they're trailing Spicy Fish effectively by 10 points. So to kind of put themselves back into the mix for kind of top 4 contenders in terms of points overall. Playing a little more forgiving this time. Well, I mean, no more nonsense down on the east and the southeast this time. Hopefully now some of these teams can spread out, find themselves a bit of freedom in the early game, get nicely looted and situated.
I mean, we've seen teams really condensed around the gas station south of Impala, Puerto, that whole little corner east of Los Leones. Shouldn't happen this time. Just about everything will be in play. We do still have a flight path going over the island, but all things said, I mean, this is the most northern we've really seen teams so far today. Eternity going up towards Oasis, Cabrera. We've got teams of Pozo and Monte Nuevo, so a good spread out from the start. But once again, fairly similar hot drop now. Zenith finding themselves in the clutch of TSM. Alo actually did get a shotgun. I'm not sure if he's going to try to do a drive-by. Zenith doesn't have anything, so let's see if he can pull it off. There's no way.
Did you see the clip? Did you see the clip the other day?
Oh, Alo. Oh, you could do this, but Keck W Kiers is in the area. They're getting really close to winning. How
Actually
far is he
being-
going to take this?
Well, I mean, if that was Kurt, he would have gone all the way. He would have gone all the way.
Circle's gonna pop. It is centered itself around El Pozo. Good for Dodge, Spicy Fish, and Eternity. And for the most part, I think teams should have an easy access. Circles like these do have a lot of playable space, playable compounds, cities to work from. So it shouldn't be too crazy of a first phase now that everybody's kind of put some distance between them.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, it's just monitoring the situation up on San Martin as TSM try and reset back towards their looting path. As see, really, when you look at options coming into this circle one, there's I guess a little more resistance down on the southeast side than maybe they would expect, but lots of space off to the north here. But Gravity, Eternity, and KEKW kind of looting north of them. They've got to anticipate those. Expect them to be wrapping in on the north side to the less congested side of the circle.
Eastern hardships. I'm still moving around Leonis. You see, J-Sank really hasn't had any opportunity to loot just yet. It has no armor, nothing really except for a handful of throwables and nades. Unciv looting out in Monty as well. Spicy Fish have been pretty good about looting this area up pretty quickly and then moving on. So I'm going to be curious to see, since Monty is, I think, it's such a good position here for this first phase. If they're going to do a 2-2 split or even just pull out of the city really quickly and Civ maybe let somebody else come backfill this position as they move on. With Pozo, with those Pozo fields, we will oftentimes see those teams try to take those positions a little bit earlier. So I think even maybe some of those compounds just to the south of town could be where we see some of those teams rapid rotate for, as you see Guadalajara gas cans trying to position themselves even more central.
We expect them to obviously maybe prioritize the red brick just slightly north of Monty, but Sharpshot and Keenan off to the west here don't really have good control of any of the main rotation routes in, as gas cans and Dodge actually going to pull up onto the same compound here, Clover.
Ooh, and good quick shooting out from Oldless. He's going to find Fitta, but Adam unfortunately knocking over Nikos. I'm not sure if Nikos might have gotten out of the car just a bit too quickly. We can see two members of Dodge are down, and Hikerman trying to stay alive up through this Molotov. Oldless repositioning cells and gas cans starting to fall apart, unfortunately, through this push from Dodge. They've got to act a little bit more according into this.
It's actually Dodge on the back foot here. Hello Senpai now on the back side of the stable. As Nikos down, but Adam and Oldless able to come across and give him some support very, very quickly. Now, Vegas way off in the distance, trying to pull up in a vehicle to maybe supply some support. Just a matter of time. Let's see the third party comes through. Keenan going to get attacked with only 14. Force Hello Senpai into an awkward position, and Oldless will find it. He will get flushed out. Gas cans keep 4 alive for the time being. Vegas sent packing all the way back towards Pozo.
I mean, right before this push happened, we kind of talked about this positioning just outside of El Pozo and how important a lot of teams really tried to take this early on. Spicy Fish actually going to use that high ground to their advantage right now as they try to just do some damage there onto some of these vehicles in the gas cans compound, though there are still, I believe, a couple more on the other side of the long compounds. And early on, I mean, I'll eat my words. I said there wasn't going to be much fighting for phase one, and I was wrong. It looks like a idea for which compounds they really wanted to take there for priority. Meanwhile, Liberate is going to put down just at the base of the mountain here at Shanty. Maybe do a bit of a split here onto the high grounds.
I mean, you maybe wouldn't expect that, but gas cans dive in a compound that you got to argue is high priority. They've come from Power Grid, maybe want to get ahead of the beat and catch Dodge off guard, and ultimately that's how that felt, right? They pulled up, and actually was it Oldless or Nikos on the outside of the long building that completely turned on whoever that was on Dodge. I mean, had no business winning that 1v1. I think really gas cans to stabilize and find that, pulling up as 4 and a really well coordinated crash. Yeah, I
mean, Oldless with that barrel spray, like you said, onto Dodge did pick up that one, and unfortunately, though, it was kind of a series of awkward events. All right, guys, welcome back. Hi, Puck. We have had 3 insane Miramar games with ridiculous circles. We're switching things up to Erangel, but before we start, why don't you walk me through match leaderboard?
Yeah, I mean, it's already kind of summed it up there. Oath closing out in style, really. That previous game after some funky circle shifts, as I think we have. There we go. Yeah, we're going to have the match standings here, closing out with an 8-kill win. Gas Cans, again, shout out to them. Some very proactive play down on the west side. And I got to credit them as well for being behind Rumblers in that rotation and actually somehow, I guess, slipping ahead of them as Rumblers tried to wrap the big the terrain or whatever it is over on the west side outside Pozo, getting ahead of Rumblers and being the ones to punish them there on that rotation. So really good stuff from them. Notable performance once again from Spicy Fish to be the victors of Pozo, so to say, and able to get themselves 3 placement points along with the kills they're able to pick up along the way.
I mean, it seems so weird to see so many of those teams on the right hand side of the leaderboard, but that was in part because of how many teams did go into Pulso. And as you talked about, even with Rumblers, kind of taking those wraps out of the city, and unfortunately for a lot of them, not successfully. Let's take a look at the overall standings real quick, see how we're doing. TSM still in first place with 145, but having kind of a mediocre game. Zenith Esports Oath using as an opportunity to play catch up. Spicy Fish as well, all closing in the gap there. 130, 122, 123 for points. A and B really starting to climb the ladder. Now, remember, C does not play until tomorrow. C is out today. It's just A and B. So, that said, though, a couple of the other teams that I was expecting to maybe do a little bit more today. We've seen a lot of presence in the late game. Dodge, Veritas, to even Eternity. They're right there at the bottom on the left hand side. And it's a bit of a surprise to see. So, we'll jump real quick to overall kills and damage for that last match.
As Sparking actually gets themselves the top spot here. It made a really good push actually in on towards, was it Eternity that were recovering in the hangar, as unfortunately the rest of his teammates fell victim to Veritas on a very well coordinated push actually. And actually 3 kills across 4 players here. High Command, Aldous, Retaliative, Balefrost, all represented here, all tied for second in the top kills.
And top damage as well. Now you can see it was Oath game right there. Kickstart Relo up there with 814, 613. Ethan sparking a Balefrost though, and the 500s. Nobody's really broken 1,000 damage yet today. And I think that part just kind of goes to show how crazy the circles have been. We've had so many teams kind of stacked on top of each other. There really hasn't been an opportunity for any one squad to have kind of that space, if you will, to really pop off through an entire game.
Well, as well, Oath, racking this much damage up just shows how much pressure they were having to put to secure that position down the southeast side coming into the late game. And I say only coming out with 8 kills to show for it. It's so much pressure created onto everybody that was along the south side. All those teams are on the shanties, on the edge of Pozo, everybody on the west side as well. So it's a shame really to see them not, I guess, find more value from that position, because they were very active throughout that game.
Well, they've got an opportunity to make it up for this match as we get into match number 4 here on day number 4. Now, this flight path a bit off to the west is going to put Zarki, Hospital, Corey Gatka all well into play, as well as Military Island. But that Milta power place that we know some of those teams like to play, Prison, Yasnaya, all kind of broken off in terms of reachables. So we're seeing a couple more teams play out towards the western side. And actually, 4 or 5 teams, 4 teams taking a guess that this could potentially go military, Hypog.
Yeah, well, I mean, Spicy Fish and Oath typically dropping over towards Milta and Milta Power. So I think with this plane path, have to try and recover things, so to say. Maybe drop and get a vehicle and try and rotate over towards their home ground. But I mean, Gravity, the unexpected one over on the west side. So Gascan's got to be careful of how they play this. But I mean, with that plane path, could go. Yeah, no, complete opposite. I was trying to queue myself up there just in case. But yeah, everybody down on Sosnovka now seeing that one.
This is essentially a 40% playable circle if the circle shifts north of the river, right? You've got all of the water to the north of the island still in this circle. You've got the river, Everest, all into play. But typically, when we hit phase 4, it's going to break away from those water sources. And that kind of leads to the idea that it could center itself up around shooting range. And so, for all those teams that are not in that position, I think we're going to see a lot of early bloodbath fighting, especially for these 4 teams here on Military Island. It's going to be kind of hard to wrap not only away from each other, but to the teams that are playing the coast and all the area between here in the zone.
It's I mean, only Afromaniacs that are going to be happy with their initial positioning. Everybody else has to make moves, really. Rumblers just now getting themselves into Yasnaya. Spicy Fish finally crossing the bridge, and Oath actually still on the east side of Sosnovka over towards Novo. Maybe actually just going to settle for looting this. Now, I did see Roth on the minimap. I was going to say, is he up to no good and maybe camping the crossroads, anticipating that Oath were going to still try and get themselves comfortable for a looting phase somewhere. But Spicy Fish will come over to Milton now. Still the opportunity to camp them if they've read this. I mean, if they've counted the numbers dropping out of the plane after them, might have a decent idea of who this is behind them.
We've seen Oath take boat rotations before. The ferry is also definitely a factor that they could use. So given where the circle is potentially going, I wouldn't be surprised to see Oath take a boat maybe up to Kameshki, rotate in that way. I mean, through phase 1, they've got plenty of time to tank in the blue, even if they want, should they have the healing resources, depending on where that next zone could go. But, you still got, like you talked about, gravity out there as a potential problem for the gas cans, and Keck, W. Keers, Dodge all playing the coastline as well. TSM, though, in their homeland of Georgia Pole, they don't have to move too terribly far. But we've seen them bully teams that like to play North Georgia. And in this case, you've got Eternity and Liberate in that position. So if they're a little bit slow to get that location across the water, which it could come back to hurt them just a bit should this really go further north to play. And it looks like Liberate is going to play the cube. So something that TSM is going to need to be mindful of. Meanwhile, we can see TAC-8 is going to cross the bridge as well, choosing to play north of the river. And I think we're going to continue to see this from quite a few more teams.
TAC-8 going to find themselves a lot of space if they start scouting towards the center of this circle and up onto the high ground. Shireen actually sending shots downhill towards Chubba, actually getting them
it works
reasonably. Yeah, sub 50 HP. Hardshift's maybe going to have to rethink their approach here. Actually, Honey's now making their way across as well, but 2 members of Edge just now coming out of Pachinki. Be careful that Hardships don't try and reaggress onto this Oath now in a boat. I don't see a lot of helmets there, so I'm assuming they're still going to try and loot in Milton Power here. But I mean, when they get onto the coast, they're not going to have a car. We're already at 5 minutes. This is going to be a late rotation from Oath.
I think, if you're Oath, you've just got to take that chance. And speaking of taking chances, gas cans are not taking any here on gravity as they get to pick up one onto D-Rich. D-Rich, I mean, this was so far.
Crashed his compound.
Everybody else is where they're to the north. They're the other side of this side. So good on gas cans, but you still got 3 more gravity that you got to get through.
Yeah, that's how you assert dominance in the early game. Don't even think about calling an audible. Don't even think about dropping onto Sosnovka.
All right, Ethan. There you go. Keep that dossier up on all 4 tires. Veritas crossing the water now as well. Remember, we just saw TAC-8 kind of take a similar rotation a little bit further west across towards Razak. So most teams starting to work their way. This could be a good place for Veritas to play from the edge, give him as well a good rotation back should the unthinkable happen and the circles start to take hard shifts down to the south. We've seen it happen before, and given how the circles have been treating us through this event, it's always a probability.
Actually checking in with TSM have made their way a little further north here and got themselves set up to the west side of Liberate's position. Only going to take a little bit of damage scouting here on the 2-seater, but will be able to settle for the yellow just away from Crossroads. That's Afro Maniacs. We know they were set up nice and early, dropping into 70 for this Circle 1. They've already got 2 bodies out towards the Crossroads. Light Show and Greg Shot still looting inside the city. But do have to be careful here. If Rumblers decide to group up and can figure out that this is maybe a split, get some early circle control, they actually be able to catch out these 2 players here, Clover.
There's a big potential. I think my fear is that Rumblers oftentimes do like to play that warehouse position. We could see Waldo starting to send it a little bit earlier, so they may opt for a split of their own just a little bit further to the west of Afro Maniacs. But that said, I mean, you still got Dodge Veritas in that similar position, and there you go, Gravity.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I can see also on the map, and I wish the observers will go over there. Spicy Fish are set up as 4, doing exactly what I said they should consider doing. But actually, Gravity are going to set up here. They might actually punish Gas Cans for crashing onto D-Rich. This is beautiful.
Oh, Morrow. Oh, he hits a headshot, doesn't find a knock, picks the second one up onto Old.
You're gonna get run over.
A little bit low. Oh, the drive-by. Adam trading it out, but Batty gets him down very low, might be able to pull one out. One more shot's all it's gonna take here, but unfortunately, Gravity is eliminated.
Oh,
Gas Cans win out in the drive-by, but it does come at a cost. You can see Nico's pulling back for the res onto Oldless.
Oh, that was painful to. I mean, at first it looked good with the damage coming through, but yeah, another failed North American bridge camp.
I mean, this is considered 2 fails. You still got Spicy Fish tanking on the blue just a bit as they're watching the other bridge.
I love that. I love the fact that I was just like, oh, maybe if they can figure out who this is, they know exactly who it is.
You know, I appreciate their proactivity, but I mean, you know, and you even called out similarly Oath looting in that Mill to Power area. They've been there for a couple of minutes now. They should at this point at least have enough resources to continue onward. But since they're kind of in that area, I'm wondering if they're going to run into Spicy Fish as both teams continue rotating.
I was just about to say the best possible scenario here is Oath actually start rotating, which they are. They've just now come to the end of the looting phase. They make their way in and camp Spicy Fish somewhere around Rostock or the Yasnaya Bridge. That would be absolutely beautiful.
Chef's kiss. I'm gonna hold you to it if this happens. You know, what was it Poro say the other day? We'd only give compliments to Kurt if something were to happen. I feel like I need to put something on the line. If Oath can pull off a bridge camp onto Spicy Fish, you know, something. I will only compliment Oath for the rest of the week. That's what we'll go with.
The week? I think Poro was saying for the rest of the year or something, wasn't
he? I don't think he has it in him to compliment Kurt for an entire year.
He can't be nice for longer than an hour, let alone a week.
Oh. I'm making heart hands at you right now, Poro, if you're watching in chat. But there you go. Circle is going to shift. And it is actually going to keep the water into play. Rozhok, Watertown's still there, but for the most part, we can pretty much rule out that this is going to go any further south. So both teams should be looking for opportunities to cross the water right now. Zenith needing to be a team to do just that. They have sent, you can see 2 up ahead early on, but now they're taking on a little bit of fire from Houston Hardships. So Punich and the rest of the gang do need to join up with Shinboy to help him out here. We've got Ketchwood Piers on the backside as well. So it's becoming a little bit of a scary rotation, but they are going to be able to get away unscathed for now. Lobes just could not find a knock out of it. Oh, KW.
That's it. Yeah, a couple of teams now making moves towards the center. Rumblers very, very split, actually. 2 members over towards the shelter just outside shooting ranges. Edge are going to pull up onto backside attack 8's Cryo. And did somebody just get flushed out there? Somebody on Edge just ran over their teammate?
Oh. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised given how everybody's been driving thus far today. And speaking of driving, Crop driving right up to Linda Hand here to Destinator as more throwables continue to come out from Femme Fatale. But, I mean, not really finding much here onto Destinator. Trying to take the push now or never. It's a real risky play for Femme Fatale, but nonetheless, it's going to still push up the stairs. Smoke might be enough to help out here, but actually it's going to be return throwables there from TAC 8 to do a bit of damage. Doesn't find the knock here. Shoreen a bit low, and you can see out on the off angle, Nana trying to see if they can spot a member of TAC 8, but just doesn't have the line of sight yet. It's easy. still alive up here on the roof. You can see more throwables coming back out, but again, be careful of Nana. And oh, Liberate actually tried to third party this, but Shireen, Jason pushing a little bit back there. Actually, it's me. Jason gets the knock onto Nana.
Yeah, and that's the Evolution going to find the flush here. So Edge down to 2 now. Green and Femme Fatale still set up inside this Prior with all 4 of Tactical 8 now regrouped on the compound. Things would, I guess, will slow down, but the fight for center circle alive and kicking. I just want to say Oath and Spicy Fish actually just crossed paths in Yasnaya Fields. So they're both aware of where each other are. Spicy Fish were looking at them, considering taking shots, and they didn't. But now both have crossed the river. I really want to see this fight, Clover. I'm sorry.
I really want to see it too. But I mean, Eternity has been inside Georgia Pole, and excuse me for this fun, but what feels like an Eternity is they're finally making a move on. And speaking of making a move, Tac 8 taking the push here onto Edge, working their way up the stairs. And Destinator tries to spot one, but falls.
Ooh!
Oh, Shireen actually gets 2, 3 with shotgun. You love to see it. Shireen though down to 40 HP. Quick pump down the stairs.
Weemu knocks Steezy. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh no, dude. Oh my god. The Molly at the top of the stairs now trying to stick the res, but Shireen, if he was able to jump out, he might find this open angle through the window.
Oh, he's got it here. Picks up the flush.
God.
The door is closed. William coming around the corner is going to catch off Shireen, and unfortunately, William trying to work through that shame res, but now Liberate, who've been watching that building, choosing this as an opportunity to push. We can see it there on the map feed, taking that compound for themselves. It is going to center up the water, somehow still into play. Gas cans don't need to cross the river just yet, but this fight that you've been waiting for, Hypoc, I think is just about to pop off here between Spicy Fish and Oath.
Yeah, I just saw in the kill feed, actually, Spicy Fish going to find 2 kills. No leaving Kickstart and Snake has left for Oath now. They both... That is amazing. There was a point where I think Spicy Fish were thinking about shooting them. They chose not to, and then actually they've crossed. Identified that Oath were playing a little split there, and we'll find 2 kills for their trouble. So I guess, you know, the bridge camp paid off, Clover.
I mean, I never thought I would hear somebody say that, but it did. And look at this. Spicy Fish now have good line of sight there onto that building that Oath's kind of occupied. It's on the edge of zone, so the Oath isn't going to be able to stay there for too much longer. Speaking of not staying for too much longer, Houston Hardshifts have been taking this fight in the blue towards Eternity, who've been really slow going to come out of Georgia Pole. Lobes watching the dossier, waiting for Steel. Picks up 1. Jumbi last still outside. 1 more inside as well. Good spot about Lobes is, I mean, Houston Hearts, you got to commend them for taking this fight to Eternity, but it is coming at a cost right now, and I'm wondering if this is really going to pay off for them in the end.
As Lobes now going to get a lot of pressure. We'll find Vexel on the way in, but Soup there for the trade. Chubb actually going to find Jumbi. Actually, potentially now, it's actually going to be tanking a lot of blue damage, and Chubba maybe going to try and just, I guess, make sure that Eternity can't leave. Make sure he secures these kill points now.
I mean, the only other options he really has is to try to run for the zone, but potentially take in the blue. But speaking of tanking, Halo Senpai tanking onto TSM, getting both Kurt and Alo down with the nade. Luke 12 still in the area, might be able to get the res off if they can keep the damage coming out from Dodge. You can see just out to the left, but Zenith is actually coming into ruin plans. Penta now having to turn their attention, but gets caught out by Shinboy in the drive-by. Luke 12, though, still with smokes, working on those reses. This is now becoming a 3-squad fight here in shooting range.
Yeah, and Lampalot's actually going up to try and punish these knocks even further here, as Finna, I guess, spotted out one of the bodies. Actually going to get a lot of damage through from Honey Badger. TSM find themselves attacked on all fronts here. They do get the reses off, but in a very, very awkward position to try and take a clean team fight out of this.
We see Luke being really careful right now for Dodge's positioning. And I think the big thing that you talk about with Lamp a lot Finna right now is what's going on with Zenith. But Halo Senpai, Vegas do have the angle. And I think a member of Rumblers, it's Waldo, also still in the area. So as the circle is going to finally pull away from the water, and as well as shooting range, all the teams out to the north are going to have to get their move on. But Oath sending Snakers early out to that compound, maybe? I'm not quite sure where Snakers is scouting himself, but it looks like he's just trying to get as center to the zone as possible. Meanwhile, Luke 12 still watching the ridgeline, waiting for Dodge here. But Halo Senpai and Vegas can really play this angle up.
I just caught on the map feed there. Eternity dying to the blue and Chubba just spraying in all 4 directions. Brilliant there. Is Luke 12 actually going to slip away from the dip and towards Halo Senpai and Vegas? Now, relatively undetected for the time being. They're not careful. Actually, yeah, Finna and Lampalot going to spot him out now. Luke 12 caught out in the open. Lampalot finds the knock. TSM going to be punished there. They've got to try and take a fight, as I said. They can't really get the vehicles out here. Not going to be able to build up enough speed to escape from this. Zenith.
This could be the thing to help them escape.
This, yeah. If they can deal with Vegas and Halo Senpai, no, they're carrying on. They're gone.
I think they know what's up. They don't want to do TSM any favors here, especially since they're chasing TSM on the leaderboard right now. Instead, they're going to put themselves in a spot as center as possible. Quick scout by the compound. Solid was free. You're going to pull back, play this position, and let TSM fend for themselves.
Oh no. Oh no.
I mean, you win some, you lose some. Unfortunately, that vehicle rotating right onto Kurt made that really easy there for Dodge to clean it up. But as they work their way into zone, remember, Waldo's still in the area, and now so are 4F. They're choosing this to be the time they would want to engage Dodge for this position.
Dodge are going to be able to regroup. I love that, by the way. Like, Zenith are like way far outside on the northwest of like Circle 3. They come through and now actually find themselves dead center. Phase 4 after just bypassing that Dodge and TSM fight. Great shot now. Going out. Waldo, I don't know if he's caught sight of somebody, but he's actually prone in the blue right now. Going to try and move under cover of the blue. Supernova still gatekeeping the edge, and his eyes are north. You can see his player icon focused on the edge here, waiting for Waldo to show up.
And Waldo really trying to time out those first aid kits. And as you said as well, keeping an eye out for Supernova as he works his way into zone. Meanwhile, on the western side, Liberate and Keck W. Kears. It's kind of about a distance. Looks like Keck W. Kears contemplating walking up onto this compound that Liberate's been playing from, but we wait for to see where the circle shifts. It is going to keep onto Liberate's compound. So this might be the play for Keck W. Kears. They've been a bit cautious. They sent Winnie a bit ahead further to see if they could secure another angle to play off of. Spicy Fish, Gas Cans, Oath, and all the teams to the north, though, are going to have to find themselves a safe spot into zone. And miraculously enough, Waldo's still alive, but you gotta give kudos to 4F for not letting up the gas there, being aware of his presence.
The Supernova keeps looking that direction. Gascan's actually wrapping all the way on the east side here. Gonna get past Spicy Fish and actually right in between Kickstart and Snakers here. Snakers actually the one to shoot first onto Nikos. He does not want to get pulled up on as Nikos gonna hit the rock down to 2 HP here. The rest of Gascan's try and pull up, and his Hiker Man actually is gonna find him. Vehicle explosion will seal his fate. Actually, Spicy Fish going to try and backfill this. That Sharp Shot comes out and pulls onto a rock here to try and lay down some damage.
Spicy Fish, unfortunately, though, stopped just short of the zone. You can see in throwable range here of the gas cans. All this and a bit of damage onto Unciv. And Roth is going to go ahead and send the wrap just a bit further, but finds Kickstart. This could be huge now as Oath is eliminated. Roth driving right on top of him, but still, Spicy Fish not yet in the zone. More shots coming out from Sharp Shot. Looks like they're still not able to quite find a knocks onto gas cans. This is really, I think, Spicy Fish's only option here is to take care of gas cans that could walk into zone safely. You've got teams in any other direction, and now 4F even starting to push down onto this.
It's actually dealing with Kickstart there. Gives Spicy Fish the opportunity to come slightly north of gas cans. You can see here, Keenan Really good opportunity to push on and clean up. Nico's inside the smokes. A little bit of mollies coming through, but in the distance, Veritas getting set up. High command dealt with by the nade here. Nico's now actually going to spring the trap, finds Keenan inside the smoke, and he will get stolen away. Actually, it's Michael on the south side.
Actually, I'm really not even sure what's going on here because there's just so many different teams in the area right now taking shots. Veritas even now getting into this fight. You get to see the kill feed absolutely exploding in color from everybody who is engaged. Now, Oldless holding on by a thread here for Gascan. Spotted out by Danny G, but Afromaniac's actually going to return fire now. And so every third party is being third-partied themselves. I think if Oldest could just lay low, it might be able to let everybody else deal with each other.
That knock on to Veritas from Poonage all the way in the double whites there to slow things down. Baha actually finds a knock on to Keck W, and that's on the south side because the Evolution looking up to try and pressure that knock. And he will actually find Winnie resin on the tree, but doesn't get the damage through to find it. But Liberate now mount their attack. They want to clear out Keck W gears, give themselves some space to work with.
Fax getting a knockout flush on to Nitrogen. Retaliative taken down as well, but you gotta be a little bit careful there. Winnie finds the trade there. Fax does have a flash. This might be the play here. Take the push onto the rest of Cucked Here's, but it's actually being nade there by Priest. He gets the flush, finds another knock, and now Jason trying to find another angle, falls as well. It's all up to Baha Waka, and he is just gonna bail.
It looks so good there for Liberate at the start of that team fight. It looks as if they had a massive advantage on Keck W, but able to stabilize, and Winnie, the one that was actually trying to stick the res initially, able to survive through. Oldest now comes through, tried to get some damage onto Spicy Fish. We'll find a knock onto Ross, but Sharp Shot quickly trades that out. Gascans will fall in 7th place, and 2 will survive for the time being as Veritas now try and make a move.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I think a little too enthusiastic of a move.
Yep. And nearly actually taking a little more damage there, opting not to take the 2-seater, but no real option than to send it towards this ridge just south of Spicy Fish here. Danny G actually going to get knocked out of vehicle, so Spicy Fish actually with a good opportunity to defend this spot against Veritas here. Oh, not anymore.
Oh, Ethan is not going to let any of that go up, and see that nade coming out to Roth. A quick thinking from Sharpshot was trying to maybe get the res, but a second nade came out, got the flush. Sharpshot is very low, but he's going to try to grab some quick resources off his teammates, keep himself up and alive. All of his armor was just trashed before this fight even began. And we can see more throwables actually going to land right on top of Sharpshot. Great molly out by Ethan. That's it for Spicy Fish. And now Veritas have the opportunity to quick recover for Michael. Or so we think. Freesk actually wrapped around behind the backside of this, tried to engage, and so Veritas will be able to play off the east now, but Freesk take that UAS and just head back to the rest of his teammates. Oh, if he can.
Ooh, somebody popped the tire as it was parked there, and he wasn't able to turn it around. Now got to try and make his way on foot. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble here, down to 3 HP. I don't even know if he's got time to get that first aid kit off. It's going to be very close if he can. Actually, yeah, he gets it off now, but Honey Badger already outposted on a tree outside the compound. Should be able to deal with him quickly. Winnie going to get picked up by Shimboy as well, so now Freesk. No real option here, yeah, ends up falling to the blue. And we have our top 4. I mean, Liberate, Solo, Veritas, a duo, and Dodge and Zenith now 4 strong into the end game. And Circle pulling away from Dodge. They've got to come away from this secure spot up on the high ground here and potentially into open line of sight of Zenith's compound.
I think the big thing right now you've got to really factor in is Baha Waka. You do have both Zenith and Dodge to be keeping an eye on him. So like the moment Baha Waka tries to make a move, he's going to be spotted out. You can see Poonage continuing to watch that angle. Veritas maybe take a long wrap out towards Dodge onto the north. That could be a potential fight that we might see. Or, you know, if you're Veritas, the only other thing you really can do is just send it to the edge of Zenith's compound. There's not really a lot of options when you look at just how much open space they've got, but Vegas getting spotted out by Jazza. Excuse me, other way around. Jazza getting spotted by Vegas, excuse me. It's going to slow things down just a bit as Ethan works on that res.
Spotted out and lots of damage coming his way. 3 members of Dodge actually sending shots towards him and will fall to the blue. Right out in 4th place. Jazza and Ethan desperately trying to stabilize behind these smokes on the east side of the circle. They are on the slow side, so they've got a little bit of time to let these bloom and potentially reposition these vehicles onto a tree or anything they can. And actually looking at it, Dodge don't have to pull all the way into line of sight of Zenith's compound. They do have a fairly comfortable chunk of this hill to play for the time being, at least until phase 7 closes. The Finna and Hello Senpai actually looking to make use of this time now and deal with Veritas. And if they do, Veritas have got something to play from. They can split the angles on the compound here, Clover.
Oh, the throwables coming out from Dodge. Find the knock onto Jazza. The car actually pushing him away. Miraculously doesn't crush him, but a second Molotov will finish out Dodge, perfectly timing those throwables. But look at this. It is actually both members of him knocked down by Zenith. That's going to be huge to help out the last member of Veritas there. See Punij getting that nice hit onto Lampalot, but not before Lampalot's nade getting a knock back down. So try to get a quick res onto Punij. It's too late for Honey Badger, but you can see Sparking now trying to hold on to the compound. So Dodge and Zenith both popping off equally onto each other for a trade. And it's now a 1v2 if Dodge can't get any of these reses.
Actually, Ethan doing a lot of damage onto Sparking there. And Vegas is going to be able to reset and get both reses. The Dodge will actually be 3 strong here. This is going to be a really interesting endgame, Clover.
I mean, right now my eyes are on Ethan. You can see him really looking to take this push to Dodge, but you've already got Vegas, Hello Senpai up. Finish to be rezzed here in just a moment as Ethan comes over the hill. A few shots out. Vegas trying to keep that pressure on. If Vegas can get found out by Ethan, that could be big. But again, even through this fight from Dodge, you've got to wonder what he'll do about Zenith, who's using this as ample time to set up for the next fight at hand. Phase 8 is where we're at right now. So the circle will center itself towards Zenith's compound, but Ethan is going to full send it right now. Spotted out by Vegas. And there you go, taken out with the headshot. Veritas eliminated into 3rd place. It is now a 3v3 Dodge versus Zenith. And Zenith now using this, as the alarm bell. It's time to fight, but Dodge really quick to wrap again.
Yeah, again, this comes back to how much of this high ground they can actually play comfortably. Because most of the east is going to be difficult for them. You see Punij and Shinboy prioritizing that side of the compound as well. Now, Vegas can wrap back and maybe find downhill angle. This could work out in Dodge's favor. Obviously, I've got to say, the star, if it comes down to it, firmly in control by Zenith. Punij's still got 2 nades as well, so he can close out. Good damage on a couple of trees here if it does come down to it. Punij's going to take a little bit of damage from Vegas, actually. Not enough to open things up for Dodge here.
You see Dodge really just waiting for phase 9 to pop, and smokes are coming out right in that moment. Both teams still being very careful for the peaks. And you see Shinboy actually still has plenty of damage throwables, 4 grenades, 2 Molotovs, just waiting for this final push coming out from Dodge. And going to take an opportunity now to start throwing them into some of the smokes. Doesn't find anybody. The first few smokes out from Dodge are going to be fakes. And now it looks like he's guessed for Vegas as this nade could be huge, but it's going to go just past Vegas. Doesn't pick up the knock here. Vegas quick on his feet, though. Back to join Halo Senpai. We could see the ARs back out. Flashbangs, though. Shooting out from Vegas. No knock yet. The damage not connecting. Halo Senpai, same thing. More shooting, no connecting damage. But Molotovs are going to push Dodge back out. And Sparking starting to wrap. Finding gets the opening knock on the finish. It's going to be huge. Finds a second one. Vegas goes down by Shinboy. Only one still up as Halo Senpai running out from the tree. Punij spots him out. And there you go. Zenith Esports picking up a chicken dinner. 7 kills their name. But I've got to give credit to Dodge. They played that one so well, Hypoc.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to them. Ultimately, you know, Vegas getting both of those revives over on the north side after things looked as if they were crumbling very quickly. Really, really good attempt, but Zenith ultimately, the control of the compound, and they were playing it proactively enough to kind of pressure dodge off of all the safe spots on that high ground.
Well, we've had a day of crazy circles, and unfortunately, that one was no exception again. As we have one more match to go, guys. So don't go anywhere. We're going to turn after one more break with our final game of day number 4 here for PUBG Continental Series 4. So stick around. All right, guys, we're back from our last break. We've got one more match to go, but before we get that game started, Hypoc, why don't you walk me through the match leaderboard for the game that we just witnessed on air and go?
Yeah, Zenith picking up their second chicken dinner of the night. This time a 17-point win for them. You got to say it again, just really, really well played by Dodge. A fantastic effort to try and, I guess, counteract that control that Zenith had from the compound there. But unfortunately, wasn't enough. And Zenith, I guess, did the work early on in the end game there. Like I said, to force Dodge off a few key angles. And make it really, really difficult for them to play any sort of high ground advantage. Elsewhere, Veritas, I guess the victors of the east side of the circle, there are lots of teams kind of barreling their way in. Gascan, Spicy Fish ultimately fell in front of them, but it came down to just a solo, and unfortunately not much else for him to do on the side of Veritas there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the third game in a row that we've seen Veritas take a top three, a third place. So a little heartbreaking to once again see them not quite clutch out the win, but 9 points still a good victory for them. Let's take a look now at the overall leaderboard, see how things struck up. Now, with a game like that, that's really going to close the gap between Zenith and TSM. They are now 1 point behind. And you know that TSM is going to be thinking about that today. I mean, I really think back to that play. Zenith had the opportunity to third party that shooting range fight, read the situation as it being TSM, and they just moved on. You know, they let TSM fall to, I believe it was Liberate, and Dodge actually it was kind of taking that fight there. So with that, you could kind of see. I mean, look, 93 kills TSM to 88 kills for Zenith. The damage, though, it's quite close, Hypoc.
Yeah, it is. Really, I'm surprised Zenith have managed to make up this much ground. And I guess it's TSM not really continuing, I guess, trending upwards as they have been previously, but bring it within 1 point. Kills still in favor by 5 for TSM, but pulling ahead now on the damage is Zenith. And really, it comes down to just how active they've been from kind of that mid to late game transition. We saw obviously early on in Miramar, and really, it's fantastic to see. This is something that, you know, I think plays to their strengths as individuals. Obviously, Honey Badger bringing that sort of pedigree from a certain previous exciting roster from last year, or the back end of last year at least. So it's really good to see Zenith performing like this.
Absolutely. And now we'll take a quick look at kills and damage for the previous match, see how that fared out for so many teams. Dodge absolutely owning there. You can see Lamp a lot up there with 4, joined by Finna and Vegas, the 3 and 2 apiece. Shinboy 4 for Zenith, and Shoreen once again putting that work in for Edge.
Again, making a little appearance there as the damage, I guess, tells a little bit of a different story. Vegas actually getting himself up to the damage leader for that game. Lampalot as well in there, 475 for him. But 3 members of Zenith, and no real surprises there. The ones that come out, obviously, with a decent kill count as well on that win.
All right, well, we're ready to get into the match. Players are in the plane, and we're going to see how they do here on the last game of the day. Now, this is Group A and B. We still got more to go for the rest of the week. B, C, A, and C matchups as well. So for those of you who've been watching patiently in chat, wondering where your favorite teams are, fear not, they will play tomorrow. But for those of you who are cheering on teams A or C, know that you really want them to finish out this last match strong, especially for those of you TSM fans out there. But I mean, Zenith really been the story of the day. Hypoc have just come out so strong to close that gap that we thought wasn't quite reachable.
No, like I said, I'm really, really surprised to see him close the distance this much. I'm frantically trying to click around and actually see how many points on the day they'd got. But we'll wait to have a look at that after the final game comes through. This playing path, very forgiving. I don't expect too many audible drops here as I say that. TSM actually floating over on Sosnovka, so not fancying their typical drop over towards South George, maybe a little further afield. Didn't want to, I guess, contest some vehicles to the west of Liberate or anything towards where Eternity are dropping over Ruins. So a little bit of a switch up from them. Now, Gascans, we know in the early game they like to assert some dominance. Whether or not they're spotting this out and they've got a plan to address this. Gravity.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the one circle you don't want to see if you've just called an audible is like, guys, go Millie, don't stretch to South George.
I mean, really, too, just the amount of teams that I think have kind of taken different drops. Gravity's still in the air going past Keck Debakirs. They haven't even touched down just yet. And so the circle to be in the opposite direction, I think their best play is to get Jacori or Primorsk, find a vehicle and wrap around. So many teams not really prepared for a Stalber finish. And, you know, the few Stalber circles we have seen thus far this year, Hypoc, have been wild. So no doubt there's a potential that this could go north of Stalber even. There's a lot of things that could go into play. But if you're Rumblers right now, and Yasnaya, and once again 4F up in Severny, you really are doing good for yourself this first phase. Yeah,
for a second there, Kickstar was actually getting chased down by Uncivil and Sharp, so inside a vehicle there. He's managed to slip away, but again, Spicy Fish not scared to, I guess, mess with Oath in the early game, and that's a statement in itself. Really, it makes it very, very difficult with a majority of plane passes. You got to assume Oath are stretching over Spicy Fish territory to get towards Milta Power. You know, obviously last year SDK, TSM now, how eager they were to do things like this to get full control of their drop spot. Fidelity actually early on the move here, and Jason over on the north side of the bridge going to get a lot of damage through, not so much onto the second UAZ, but Vexel down to literally 1 HP inside that UAZ. Eternity on a very, very early rotation. They actually flipped the car. Oh no. Oh, he had a bolt. If he had a DMR there, it's literally a free kill for Pufas.
You know, Poro has his scrims bingo that he likes to do when he casts the scrims. And I really feel like somebody somewhere needs to make a bingo for when we do PCS.
Oh my God.
And flipping cars. Oh, is
Pufas
actually chasing him?
He's actually chasing this.
Oh my goodness. I mean, Liberated and Tournament had been... Oh.
I'm so tilted. I am so tilted.
Oh, you tried. At least you tried.
That would have been perfect. I don't even think
Liberated in a tournament, right? They did this last game too. These teams kind of fought in the Georgia Pole area through the entirety of phase 1 and phase 2, even had hard shifts kind of rotate into that fight there at the end. And so I'm not sure if this is just some early bullying where the two of them are still kind of fighting over this position here for Erangel or what, but at some point Eternity kind of has to say, maybe we should stop this drop because it looks like Liberate's kind of won it out again.
Well, it's the same thing, it was ATC last year, right? They were just getting harassed early game by SDK. Yeah. Just time and time again, and they stuck to their guns, and eventually it got to the point where it was like, yeah, okay, we won't do it every game now, but, you know, 1 in 3. So it was always like, you're always just anticipating whether or not that early game aggression is going to come through. But really, really lucky. I mean, I'm pretty sure 3 out of 4 of the Eternity players didn't even have a helmet there. So if Bufas actually didn't flip the UAZ, I'm pretty sure he would have been able to farm some kills.
Oh, well, speaking of more drive-bys and kills, Veritas getting a little bit close to Honey Badger. He's behind a bit from the rest of Zenith. He's kind of been doing this, not only with this roster, but he's been known for it for other rosters too, where he'll really hang back, kind of play a little bit slow behind his team, or vice versa. He'll really scout far ahead, overextend themselves, and try to find kind of the crazy angles on things. So you get a little bit nervous when you see a situation like this where we've got a team rotating beside him. But for right now, I don't think Veritas is too much of a threat going forward. But the big issue, of course, is going to be where teams are going to put down for this first game, for the first circle, excuse me, because we've started to see this go Stalber a lot more than it has in past with the updated circle settings in 2021, you know, a little bit smaller on some of those earlier zones, and they kind of have a little more free roam to shift in or around water or unplayable sources. So some teams now, I think, getting used to playing areas that we wouldn't normally see in esports circles before this year.
That's the Tactical 8 receiving a lot of pressure in rotation here from Afromaniacs. Got here a little further ahead of them. Actually, Freebie Please down at the compound here with a teammate. It's Light Show as well. They're going to find Steezy BB.
I think a smart play to pull away from this.
Yeah, I was going to say they're going to pull away, but I mean, without the kill feed knowledge on the second half. Oh no, Wimu actually gets plucked out of the vehicle, heading back up the hillside, not able to pick up enough speed there. I think actually Supernova considering chasing down the final 2 members of Tactical 8. I was going to say, at that point, Tactical A, obviously without the knowledge of the other half of that split, if they just committed to the pull up there, they would have had the numbers advantage.
Yeah, the hesitation is definitely something that cost them there, though. I think Weam, it's just kind of the unfortunate side of the rapid rotation. Liberate also taking this northern compound, though, and it's going to take them up really close to 4F. I'm not sure if they were able to hear the fighting just yet. They kind of come into this a little bit late, but once again, Free Me Please setting up, letting Jason go by first and waiting for the rest of the team before taking shots. And see Supernova actually repositioned as well. So Greg shot Supernova kind of chased on a little bit past Pack 8, but now shooting coming out from Free Me Please towards Evolution, getting him down to half HP. That nade could be huge. Definitely going to do a lot of damage to the car. Evolution spotted out. It's going to be flushed there by Supernova. Jason, though, was able to get into a compound. I think they let Jason him
slip in the back door? Yeah. What? Okay. Yeah, they let him rotate past as soon as Evolution takes some pressure. I think Jason pulled a 180 and came onto the backside of the compound, but members of Liberate a little further afield. You can see Pufas and Baha now having to deal with the southern side of Afromaniac split. Supernova and Greg Shot harassing elsewhere on the hillside, and now actually Liberate going to be really, really split up.
Liberate, Baha and Pufas read that situation happening there with the Afro and decided to pull away, wrap around, but because of that 2-2 split running right in between them. Meanwhile, a lot of teams banking on really kind of the easy wraps and rotations. Going onto this east side is not only going to give you good access to Stallbird, but should it pull back down south towards Yasnaya, going to give you that free roam to go back down south too. And so Spicy Fish, we're trying to find a place to put down. Unfortunately, getting caught between the Zenith sandwich here. We've got a 2-2 split from both sides of the team, but Halo Senpai actually could be the one to spot out Sharp here. And it looks like Sparking.
That's from so far away. Oh. Dodger on the edge
I'm not
of
sure
Yasnaya.
If he hit that rock. Yeah. That first shot from Sparking might have even been a good one, but unfortunately, I hit the rock right in front of me. It was just a little bit pointed down too low, but you could see Spicy Fish is going to find a place to put back down onto this. Now, the rest of the teams out in the area shouldn't be too huge of an issue. And Oath actually decided to go from Milta Power all the way up here to the beach. I'm not sure if they drove here or came in by boat. Nope. Okay, they drove. It's kind of like the idea that they're just going to boat through all of Erangel today.
Well, it's actually only Kickstart down on the beach, so the other three members of Oath are a little closer on the bunker. Just opposite Spicy Fish, where we saw them previously. So Kickstart, I guess, out there for info. Actually going to get spotted out by Michael. Of all people, just unfortunate timing to be looking east there.
Michael has just been totally ace today. Just the way that Veritas has been playing, we talked about a bit during the break, that they've made top three times in a row, and they've really found themselves good scoring opportunities. They just haven't quite been able to clutch a chicken dinner yet. I think a lot of that just comes from the good control of not only the macro game, but the meta as well. But the circle is going to shift. It's going to go hard to the north, away from Stallbird, though. So all those teams out to the east, Hypoc, are going to have to rotate right on top of each other.
Yeah, not an awful lot of routes to make their way back through here. Is Adam going to find a knock and a flush onto Lobes? They try and make their transition now on the southwest side of the circle. Let's see a heavy stack of teams on the west side. You've got Eternity, Keck, W, Hardshifts, remnants of Liberate out up on the hilltop, and Afromaniac still split in this 2-2 setup here. And Gravity a little further afield, and Gas Cans coming in on the south side. It's going to get hectic up on the hilltop just to the north of the Junkyard Alamo.
A big factor, I think, in how successful some of these teams are going to be is whether or not this hardships to the east or west. You can see Spicy Fish wanting to play that ridge line. It can be a very big priority spot for control, but Rumblers already here. Valiate actually trying to hold the high ground, letting Keenan in first. Spotting out Roth, waiting for the right moment to take shots. There you go, suppressed. Actually going to push Spicy Fish here into the Wizard compound, but there's not really a lot of other places for them to go through here that they really, I think, at this point, drive from successfully. So this might be a foot game for the rest of it for Spicy Fish if the circle were to shift away.
It's tricky really to make moves anywhere on this side of Stauber Hill, as Oath now you can see bouncing back and forth in rotation. Let's set up behind Zenith. Actually, you can see now Zenith a little bit split, so they've got to be fast to try and regroup here. They're going to get back down to the compound, the safety of the compound, I should say, and Oath will settle for a little bit of rock formation up on the high ground.
It's really becoming one of my favorite compounds for these stalwart circles now that they've been kind of becoming more frequently. So Zenith, you can see, have protection and have line of sight onto Oath, doing a little bit of damage to the Kickstart's vehicle. Meanwhile, Dodge going with the widest wrap that they can to try to avoid as much open area. You've got Gravity, Gas Cans, Eternity all down below, and Play might even be able to just kind of sit at the edge of Severny. Like you can see, still got a couple of members of Eternity in town. Haven't really left that position just yet. So Dodge taking this one carefully, but Soup, by the way, spotting him out. Shots back out, trying to see if he can get a knock onto Finna. No damage connecting just yet, but bring attention now to Lamplot and the rest of the Dodge members as they continue driving onward.
We'll keep wrapping a little further afield. Eternity actually trying to set up. I love this. Actually, the readjust here to set up, and I think Lamplot just spots it out, but the damage coming through instantly with the headshot there. But Eternity now desperately trying to hunt down these kills.
I mean, this is the really great play here, and the problem, of course, is that they did let Finna through, so Dodge short one. Unfortunately, Finna in a position it can't really help out here. You've got Keck WKers and 4F applying pressure onto Finna. As you can see now, oh, that circle. Circle's going to pull far away from the Severny fight, so Eternity need to not live up to their namesake this time. Finish up the fight quicker than we've seen them in the past. They sometimes like to take these into the blue a little bit too long and work their way into the zone. And the question, of course, comes to where is that? You've got Liberate, Keck WKers kind of playing that edge right now. Hardshift's Gravity also in the area. Things are becoming a bit congested onto the western side. Down at the south, Rumblers have a good positioning. Edge still a little bit split around them, but Edge should be able to reconsolidate and continue wrapping up to the east. So Gas Cans, though, next to make their move. And lately, we've kind of been seeing them play either the kind of mix of the edge or the center. So I'm curious if they're going to try to send it as close as they can up the mountain, or if they're just going to play this little kind of dip at the base here. This isn't really safe though, so I'm not sure. Hypoc.
Yeah, I mean, able to thread their way through for the time being. Oh, the grenade a little early. Oh no, it's not early. It might be perfect, actually. Look at this. Adam's super low already on the clock. 21 HP. Tries to come through. Keenan going to find the knock, actually. This is the upper hand. Goes to Spicy Fish, but lots of damage on the ground floor. Heikeman going to find Roth.
Great shooting out by Guadalajara Gas Cans that managed to survive this crash. Unfortunately, losing Admin. This is Zenith using this as ample time to third party. Had the angle up at the ridge line. And you can see Gas Cans now looting what they can and trying to stay alive for this. Meanwhile, TSM taking shots towards Gravity. So continuing to rapid rotate from the south. Rumblers pulling back away as well. We got multiple teams out to the south on top of each other. Edge had that split going, and Gravity drove right into them.
And the worst thing is now Dogwood's going to keep heading towards Rumblers, and who else but Nana to be walking up on the side of one member. Actually, Valier spots him out. He had the perfect flank. Oh no. Edge are actually in a position there to be the ones to find the most kill points here on the edge. Lost HD nearly getting caught out by Nana, but wise eyes from Valier will spot it out.
On the flip side of this, TSM, who had started to pursue, actually hung back to deal with Dodge, and that might be something that could have saved them from pushing into a multi-fight situation. But Penta pulling back out to help Luke 12, has the fight broken away. Kurt, meanwhile, spotting out Edge, and it's going to be Femme Fatale. Gets them very low, hasn't found the knock just yet, but good shooting down to 1 HP. Femme Fatale somehow still alive into all of this. Kurt could just get one more shot. That would have been a knock, but Edge now entirely split up. Honey going around TSM through Dodge, and nowhere else to really go here in the blue.
Honey going to try and reposition back onto the wall.
Yeah,
just can't find any space anywhere. Actually, Vegas going to let him pass, but Hello Senpai should open up onto him. He will indeed, yeah. Gets one tag, nothing else though, but now he's going to pull up on hardships. Yeah, that's a tilter. That's a tilter right there. He's driving for literally back and forth either side of the circle, and eventually we'll get dealt with. Femme Fatale, last one up now for Edge.
I mean, you've got to wonder what happened in the communications that kind of pushed Honey in that direction, but nonetheless, Femme Fatale did survive. We did see him drive away with 1 HP and managed to recover from that fight, and TSM, who tanked in the blue just a little bit, able to now pull back to no lean, give themselves a quick recovery before sending it north to the zone. But you've got so many teams still in the area, so they're not out of the blue, or really, I guess I say out of the red just yet. They've got to worry about the blue. Femme Fatale holding on to the edge, and meanwhile, Rumblers still climbing up the mountain, not in the zone though, so I think the play might be to come up to Stalber and then up around Oath on another angle, but Crop spotting Zobber, and that's going to be it for Gravity.
It's another awkward circle shift, actually. Zenith's going to be able to stay in their compound for the time being. Jason actually on a wide wrap now on the beach. Yeah, I guess he's going to pull up onto the compound.
Oh, no.
Eternity now are going to try and reinforce. Nobody else from Liberate over here.
Ooh,
okay.
All right. I want to give a little bit of credit. Vexel kind of had Jason in thoughts. Unfortunately, I think all of the bullets went into the window instead of into Jason themselves, but they got the knock nonetheless. But once again, Bahawaka and Pufax fighting themselves late onto that rotation for Liberate. Meanwhile, D-Treat's taking shots towards Dodge, but not really connecting and resulting in a knock. You could see still walking up onto 4F's compound. Afro Maniacs, maybe? Not sure if they see D-Treats. I'm not sure if he's stuck.
Stuck.
Uh-oh.
Somebody help.
Oh no, D-Treats.
I think they've got to knock him to get him out, but we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what ends up happening. TSM, meanwhile, actually push on to Gascan's Wizard now. Penta, if he can get that molly in the top floor, it's going to be perfect to flush Nico as well. Actually comes out and finds an open angle. Penta will actually get caught slipping there on the ridge. We'll get flushed out as well. This is terrible now. Gascan have to move, but TSM still going to try and hold on and find these kill points, I think.
Oh, Kurt. Oh, if he'd taken that shot, he might have actually spotted the knock here, but, still being a little bit careful on giving their position away. You've still got the gas cans in the area as well. Honey Badger keeping an eye onto Hiker. You can see Luke 12 in that push battle, but Nikos is going to get the knock. Guadalajara gas cans are eliminated to go. Kurt not having any time for the res. It's phase 5. He's taking in the blue, just hoping to get something here onto Zenith. A little too late for that first day. That might be it for TSM. To see Zenith Esports turning their attention back now towards the west. And there you go. TSM now is going to fall Kurt to the zone. Dodge, 4F, hard shifts, all in the same area. D-Treats, I don't think is able to get out of that rock, but J-Sync spotting and knocking Halo Senpai, picking up the flush real quick, and now Zenith Esports can turn their attention to this fight as well.
Yeah, I think Chubba actually knocked D-Treats to try and get him to crawl out, and then Hello Senpai came and flushed him. So really unfortunate for hardships there. Vegas actually going to open up a Shimboy that actually finds that knock though. Vegas will go forward, find another knock though. So 2 knock now for Afromaniacs. Supernova only man standing now on Zenith. Smell blood in the water. They should have numbers on this fight if they can get close enough to throw some nades. You can see Shimboy trying to send a couple down that direction. One bouncing on the top. The second one looks good though. Look at that. The molly actually comes through. That's perfect.
Let's go.
Zenith finishes it off with the mini as well.
Zenith have finally jumped TSM now at the 155 points. TSM's eliminated. There's nothing else they could put on the board today. And so this is Zenith's game to run away with and really take the lead going forward to the rest of the week. But meanwhile, Oath, who's been playing the East very patiently, has an opportunity to capitalize on Rumblers. The rest of the team stacked out in this area. And Zenith, who are still not letting up the gas as well as they continue this wrap onto Houston Hardships. J-Sank, though, getting a knock onto Freeze, and immediately sparking, using that as an opportunity to get a quick knock and flush Zenith, pick up another.
Chubba trying to lay low here as Shimboy actually going to get very aggressive onto Keck W. We'll find one knock here onto the open, get the flush as well. Not sure what happened there. Shinboy actually staring at the ground. He turned around. Chubba will get spotted out. The nade definitely going to deal with him here. Sparking, though, got to escape. 14 HP. Cannot take any more damage there. Shinboy actually get flushed out. Zenith down to 3. It's still doing work here. Honey Badger actually going to find a kill onto Decimator. It looks like they want to try and third-party Oath as well. Honey Badger and Poonage leaning towards the east side of this circle. Honey Badger going to take a couple of tags. He's got to respect that and back away.
Since TSM falling, Zenith has picked up an additional 10 points on this match. So climb continuing on, as you can see, sitting out with 11 kills. They've got their sights locked into Oath, though, onto the east. Meanwhile, out on the west, more fighting still breaking off. Veritas once again finding themselves up in the late game. 0 kills. And it looks like they've got eyes on Eternity. Michael waiting for Vexel to stand, seeing if he can get a knock. The circle is in Veritas and Eternity's favor. You can see Crop Retaliative, the other 2 solos inside as well, so you need to be a bit careful. Steele finding a knock onto Michael. Great shooting up, but Danny G falls as well. 2 still up for Veritas. They've got to be a bit careful from this angle. Eternity still playing the high ground to their advantage. With Soup, by the way, Jumbi not quite in a position yet to have an angle onto this, and there could be time to maybe pick up 1 res, but Vexel actually found an angle onto this. Shots turned towards Michael. Gets a headshot for 1. Oh, that Jumbi. Seeing what he can spot here. Close range onto Veritas.
He's going to be able to get Michael back on his feet. Jumbi and Soup actually closing distance here. Jazza tries to pull away in the vehicle. And meanwhile, actually, a fight going on over on the southeast side. Oath and Zenith finally getting into it. You see them trading back and forth. But Ethan, good for the spray. And we'll actually find that. Zenith do get eliminated elsewhere. Now in 6th place. But Veritas 3 strong once again here, and actually Jazz's reposition will reap the reward and find Vexel and Eternity eliminated. Now down to the final 4: Oath, Veritas, KEKW, and Take.
Nop was really picking up some third-party points there onto the Oath Zenith fight. So in doing so has given away their position, but you can see Oath still needing to work towards zone again. They know exactly where Crop is, though. Sees Buggy taking out those tires and not gonna have a target to work towards moving to zone. You talked about that positioning for Veritas once again finding themselves up in the late game. This could potentially be the one that we might see them win if they can keep Oath from coming down the hill. But Oath do still have working vehicles, might be able to send it, but the question is where.
Is he going to come up and deal with Crop very swiftly? One of the solos removed. Retaliative actually kind of backfilling Veritas on the west side here. I don't know if they're going to be expecting that, but Oath going to wrap down towards the dirt road. Kickstart with the M249, the 4X. Ready to let it rip in the end game.
You know, you got to spray and pray just a bit. And if anybody was going to hit it, I mean, Kickstart's definitely a person that I'm going to put my faith into the M249 on a 4X spray. But Retaliative, right? You called it. I don't think Veritas is expecting his position. Unfortunately for Retaliative, this is the same area that Oath is choosing to wrap on. And I think kind of sharing that same idea there towards backfilling Veritas's previous position. Veritas reading this and turning their attention back elsewhere. And this already worked for them once. Let's see if it can work for them again.
You see now as Veritas pushing closer and closer to Retaliative's tree. I think actually just spotted out either Belfast or Reload there, and Oath's wrap now actually puts them at a major disadvantage. Veritas going to be able to reset back onto the east side and potentially take control of that shack once again. Oath looking to get there very early, and now if they can get there with the vehicles, we might actually be able to set up in front of Veritas.
Curious as well to see if we might see more vehicle drive-by play. It's not the first time we would encounter one here at the very late game final fight. But again, Retaliative still a factor in this fight. Both teams really right on top of him. Great throwables out by Real is going to push Michael back down to 46 HP. Retaliative, once again, still in the area, not yet choosing to engage, letting both teams fight it out for Relo with the Mini 14. Doesn't spot anybody, just making sure Jazza didn't wrap around a bit too far. Oath do have the zone. Snakers Relo inside, but again, I mean, the big question here, and I'm just staring at everything, is retaliative, because he really has the potential to mess it up for either one of these teams.
He does his biding his time here. I think you're right. Wants to see a couple of knocks in the kill feed before springing to life. Ethan still posted up, eyes west. Anticipation Snake is actually going to get control of that shack I was talking about. Now, this is only phase 7, so there's potentially another shift that can really switch things up towards the end of this final game tonight. But Oath have managed to regain control of the dirt road and actually have got, I'll argue, that the most control of phase 7 here as it comes into close. Retaliative now inching his way closer and closer on that western edge, and Ethan actually looking to sweep along behind him. He might actually, no, he was just getting close. Now he's backing away. So Retaliative, again, he's going to survive through this one.
And I mean, I think a big factor too, if Jazza gets knocked at all, they're really going to lose that line of sight, and that could be the big factor here. We saw Jazza play this angle a little bit earlier on, and it was huge in taking care of all those teams that Veritas was fighting. I believe it was Eternity. Meanwhile, I mean, Balefrost kind of holding that angle towards Jazza. You've got Snakers and Kickstart watching that way too, and then Relo kind of watching Retaliative towards Ethan. Michael, everybody is kind of keeping eyes on each other, and like you called it, I mean, phase 8 getting ready to close. Damage now coming out finally. Michael getting a few hits, but no knocks just yet. And moving forward to phase 9, I mean, it's the dead center of all of this. So everybody really playing the edge here. Even Retaliative starting to sneak his way into zone without being spotted just yet. Or, as I say that, I think Ethan finally kind of figured out where he is.
I think by a trial and error here, trying to isolate where Retaliative and send out a fishing nade onto a tree. But I got to say, this circle sort of favors Veritas. Yes, Oath have the high ground to a degree, but this ridge is such a gradual slope. I don't really think it's going to give them a good reach to peek down on. Retaliative is on the slow side, so he can move with the blue. You see Michael just hyper focused on this edge, and Relo actually in the same spot. I think both teams a really good idea of where the solo is positioned, and it's heartbreaking for Retaliative because everybody wants him to die first. All he wants is for somebody else to get knocked.
I don't think I've ever seen this many people looking at a solo before. I mean, you have 7 people, 2 teams just entirely waiting on Retaliative. The pressure's on. But I mean, you're right. Like, we really aren't seeing too much of anything. And I think some frustrated shots out from Snakers did manage to spot a member of Veritas. But again, it's not being responded to. I mean, at this point, it's just bait shots. So I think the frustration of just something needing to happen. We've gone a couple minutes now without really too much action here. And as the circle getting ready to close now for phase 9, that's going to be the last thing that we're going to need to see Retaliative either fall to the blue zone or fall on his way out towards the zone. And blue moving in, this is kind of the last little hurrah for everybody. Retaliative actually still playing this one slow and low. And spotted out by Snakers, gets taken out. Let's see if Veritas finally picks up their boots and makes a run for it. Oath does. I think realizing that the last soul is out, it's only 3 people they need to focus on. Shots out from Snakers towards Ethan, but a nade in hand could be returned. Oath, 2 members with nades themselves, and it is going to be a battle of the throwables. Molotovs, frag grenades raining from both sides. A knock hasn't been spotted out just yet, but Oath now pushing up to the high ground, taking Veritas kind of down up to the north, down the low ground. This could be center position for Oath. The question is now, can they hold it from Veritas? Shots back out again from Michael as he tries to push up with Ethan. Does a little damage to Relo. Actually gets a knock onto Snakers. This could be huge. Ethan with the second one looking for a flush. That's going to fall just short. The Molotov getting onto Snakers, though. You can see Kickstart lying prone. Balefrost lying prone, hoping to not get spotted. Still plenty of throwables out into play. Ethan picking up the flush onto Snakers. Balefrost and Reload trying to find the angle. Can they? Veritas now with 5 kills. Second place. They've made 3 top 3 today. Can they finally find the chicken dinner? Getting Reload down to 6 HP. Kickstart still with the M249. Balefrost trying to find anybody that they can here onto Veritas. Ethan picking up spray, knocks one, but it is traded. Reload picks it up. 5 kills now to Oath. They get the flush onto Ethan. Find Jazza. All that's left up now is Michael. Is it going to be enough here? Getting some damage to the blue. Flashbangs are out. Tries to lie prone to survive. It actually manages to pick up a flush onto Balefrost. Don't know if he realized he was here. Stuck his head up, but no. Veritas can't clinch the win. But a second chicken dinner for Oath tonight as they take the victory with 12 kills.
Yeah, really, really well played by Host, and really, really good time management there, to be honest, letting it run down as long as possible. Yes, Snakers gets caught off guard by the nade, but, you know, they hold it, they play it very, very slow, and actually that plateau worked out perfectly for them. It gave them enough space to kind of set up behind a couple of trees and kickstart making the M249 work in the end game.
I mean, that was so slow, and we even saw frustrating. Snakers finally taking those bait shots after tired of waiting. Both teams being so incredible. Just say all 3 teams retaliative for KW Kiers, also keeping his cool, keeping his head down, and not freely giving that point to either one of those teams. That said, though, I mean, once again, another strange circle in an area we don't see so often. Those Stalber mountain circles can be really difficult to play with that high ground, low ground, and not much else cover in between. So, well played, though, by Oath. And again, credit to where credit is due. Veritas has had 4 of their 5 matches today be top 3. And, you know, just want to see them push that a little bit further and clinch the chicken.
Yeah, it's overall a really, really good day. Like you said, it's what, third, and second. So it's the last one slipped through their fingers as well. But just looking at it again before this comes in, I think overall, actually, from both A versus B days, Spicy Fish are going to be the overall victors in terms of total points accrued. Either that or Zenith. So I have to wait and see. But lots of movement in the right sorts of areas today, Clover. And we're looking towards, you know, basically anything below third, right? The third to maybe 10th, which is where our eyes are going to be, obviously around the top 6, and then who goes to the last chance qualifiers. And in terms of looking at that, lots of teams making moves today.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we'll get to the leaderboard in just a moment. We're waiting for everything to finalize, guys, to give us a little bit for our production team to get caught up. But I mean, you talked about moves between 3rd and 10th. And going into this match, there was a lot of very close positioning for a lot of those teams in around 60 and 70 points, many of whom were only 1 or 2 apart, none of which were teams really in C who won't play until tomorrow. So for those A and B teams, some of whom are going to sit out, you know that they really wanted to go to the end of today, trying to get as far ahead as those C teams that will begin to play catch up starting tomorrow. So, really well played for a Miramar heavy game for some of those teams, especially the ones that we do see as those stronger performances out on Miramar. Use that as good opportunity. And TSM that didn't quite do as much as we were expecting today. And there you have it, guys. Our leaderboard here for the match: Oath, 22 points, 12 of which went to kills. And Zenith once again putting down a high point game.
I mean, I keep saying it, but I mean, from day one, I've said this is so many times that on a game by game basis, points wise, it's so top heavy. There's such a steep drop off. Really, it's just, I mean, Oath closing a lot of ground considering what the day one in this lobby it was 20 odd point, I think 21 points.
Yeah.
To come out with that here in 22 points in the final game actually of tonight is a testament to really how they've turned things around.
Definitely, and really, I think as well, Eternity up here for top 4 again, only picking up 8 points, but another team that we've kind of quietly seen continuously making it into the late game, finding scoring opportunities, fragging opportunities. They came out as the strongest team from the qualifying rounds. And so to see them still hold their own in the group stages against the invited teams is really exciting to see. Guadalajara Gas Cans, Kekta Bakir is also picking up 7 points that match. TAC 8 and Houston Harshest getting some much needed points. But, you know, TSM, Spicy Fish, all out relatively early. TSM only picking up 2 points for that match. And so kind of got to wonder what the overall leaderboard's going to look like for today, especially for the teams that are going to be sitting out tomorrow, which I believe is going to be Group A that is not playing tomorrow. And there you go. Zenith 160 to TSM's 150. But Oath, closed the gap as well, 145 behind TSM. So it's now kind of a three-way race for the top three. But Spicy Fish, if they can have another day like they did today, there's a chance that they could close that as well, Hypoc.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, you kind of have to ignore some of the group letterings, but I mean, look at it. It's Ascendants on 90 points, all the way down to Eternity and 13th on 75. So a big chunk of teams there, really vying for that final spot in sixth. To be honest, to secure that and avoid the last chance qualifiers. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Again, I mean, I said the same thing the other day, looking for lots of teams in Group C to really step up. And I mean, with the way that Sonics and Ascendants played, they both performed fantastically across both days. To be honest with you, so um, you could accredit that to a lot of points being sponged up. But I've got to see more out of them.
Yeah, I mean, we even just kind of take a look at the kill totals. Like Zenith now topping with 99 kills to TSM's 95, Oath with 88, Spicy Fish 80, and then it kind of drops off from there, 67, and then 50s all the way down to Rumblers who have 45. So it's not to say that these teams aren't putting in the work; they're getting quite a lot of kills. It's just that these teams, the top, as you said, are point sponging. They're kill sponging even for the teams that can kind of get a lot of frags out but aren't making that late game plays. So head to head one more time. Let's take another look at Zenith and TSM, this time switching place as Zenith has taken first. And there you go. They've finally broken apart the damage. Zenith taking a little bit of a lead over TSM, Hypoc.
Yeah, and looking a little more comfortable, I guess, in the things that we've seen Zenith try and do, at least in the first 3 days of play, as in the group stages. And today just looked almost like they're able to just position up and execute very decisively on where they wanted to control. Picking up kill points throughout the mid game, which we always accredit teams to, especially in this, obviously the point rule where it matters most. But they've looked so comfortable doing it, Clover. It's actually really fantastic to see, obviously, with Sparking and Honey Badger joining Punaj and Shinboy on this roster.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we talked a lot about TSM. The second thing that I think was on everybody's eyes was Sparking, right? We've seen his performance in LATAM and the combined LATAM North Americas. We knew we were going to get to see a lot of him regardless, but I think what we weren't expecting was to see him playing up here in NA. And right now, leading the kills with 33 for Zenith, just to show that he's fitting well on this roster. And I'm just curious to see if this honeymoon period will continue. I know we throw this word around a lot, but with so many roster changes, we're always, a little bit concerned. Is there going to be consistency with the way that the four of them can play together? That said, Snakers, Shinboy continue working for their teams 29 apiece. Penta also leading TSM still with 29, but Luke 12 not far behind with 27.
No, absolutely. And like I said, TSM having a slower day. But already done the early work, right? I mean, we've seen this discussion over the last few days. Nobody wants to win group stages. It's a curse. And I think the most cursed team when it comes to that is STK. Maybe with a new name, it doesn't apply. But as you see here, the damage actually pretty close for the top four, at least. Snake is 300 or so behind Penta. But Sparking and Honey Badger put in absolute work today. And it's well represented here in the damage bounty.
It's really wonderful to see it, not only just that performance, but I think the consistency from these players across multiple events. When we take a look at PGI, ESL, and now PCS for the year, even in the assist bounty, we can see Spicy Fish. This is really where they're kind of making a come up now, 22, 21, 21 for Keenan and Sif Roth. And it just goes to show that the four of these players have teamwork. I think that was going to be our biggest concern when we first looked at this roster's announcement, is you've got four very independent players who sometimes uh, maybe have, I think, a personality that can be quite big. The question was, were those personalities going to mesh together? And I think the answer right now, after watching them play in a couple events, is yes. But we still want to see just a little bit more growth from them, see them continue that consistency there at the top of the leaderboards. But uh, yeah, there we go, Hypoc. It's been a good day. It's been a great day of games.
It has, yeah. There's obviously the last bounty to cover the chicken dinners, and that's the only spicy fish that on this one haven't made it to 3 chicken dinners. It's Zenith, Oath, TSM, and Sonics all tied up at 3. Obviously, with a couple of these teams picking up 2 wins on the day as well, really flipping this one on its head from the start.
Mm. Well, guys, that is pretty much it for us. We've gone through bounties, we've gone over the leaderboard, and with that, Uh, I'm not even going to throw last thoughts to you, Hypoc. I think we've said pretty much what we need to say. But I do want to remind you guys to tune in tomorrow for date number 5 is going to be here on twitch.tv/PUBG at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure that you tune in and see who is going to get through to the group stages. As we've been talking about, it is very close. We don't have a winner who's been able to run away with it just yet, as teams were able to catch up to TSM today. But that is it from me. I want to send thank you to Hypoc for casting with me, to CD6 and the rest of our production team, and to our observers, and of course to PUBG and all of you cheering on in chats. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. And as Toffee says, I don't see it till then. Play more PUBG.